Chapter 45-65. On this day, the bloodthirsty Demon King came over. We can go now. Ever since the Scarlet Devil Demon King left, nothing had happened to Lin Fei. The bloodthirsty Demon King heaved a sigh of relief. After all, it was not easy for him to get that scroll. He did not expect Luo Shan to target it. If it was anyone else, the bloodthirsty Demon King would not have handed it over. But he had no choice. Luo Shan could not be offended. Fortunately, he gave the scroll to Lin Fei. Lin Fei seemed to have given it to the Scarlet Devil Demon King. The bloodthirsty Demon King had thought it through. He did not plan to go to the Phoenix Wood. There was no need to offend Luo Shan. He would pretend he had not seen the scroll. If he really went and Luo Shan saw him, Luo Shan would bear a grudge against him. If something happened, he might lose his life. Lin Fei had been practicing the demon god escape these days. His mastery of the devil god escape technique was also very good. When he went to the tomb, the demon god escape would be even more effective. I didn't expect it to be so soon. I thought I would have to wait a long time. Lin Fei pushed the door open and came out. His face was calm and no emotions could be seen. There are many people here. They should all be going. The four of them came to the square of the Demon God Palace. At this moment, there were not many people standing on the square of the Demon God Palace. Every one of them was a Demon King. There were some young masters among them, such as Luo Shan. There were quite a few people like him. Lin Fei glanced around and found at least a dozen young masters. These people had brought experts with them. They stood there with a strong aura. The Demon Kings were much quieter in this direction. That is the Palace Lord of the Demon God Palace, the Eternal Demon King. Of course, Lin Fei had heard of this indestructible demon monarch. It was said that the Eternal Demon King was very strong. In the territory of the Demon God Palace, he would be invincible. This should be a clone. I didn't expect a clone to be so strong. It is almost at the Heavenly King realm. With just a glance, Lin Fei could see the clues. This was not the real body, but a clone. It was rare for a clone to be able to cultivate to such a level. The imperishable palace master will open the entrance to the Heavenly King's ancient tomb soon. I heard that there are two entrances like this in our spiritual realm. One is at our Demon God Palace, and the other is at the first Sacred King side. That is the so-called Heavenly Saint Gate, the number 1 immortal gate. Lin Fei knew that the opening of the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King would be much more lively than he had imagined. There were quite a number of foreign experts. The humans were clearly inferior to the demons. After waiting for an hour, Imperishable Palace Master spoke. His voice was as loud as a bell, reverberating in the sky and falling into everyone's ears. It seems like this person is almost here. We can make our move now. With a wave of his hand, a door appeared. So the door to the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King was actually kept by Imperishable Palace Master. The door floated down and grew larger. Finally, it landed in the sky and turned into a huge door. Inside the door, one could see a huge grotto heaven world. The door opened. One by one, figures rushed in. The Demon King was the fastest, followed by the young masters of the human race. Lin Fei had been watching Luo Shan. He had come for the Phoenix Wood. Now that Luo Shan knew the whereabouts of the Phoenix Wood, Lin Fei naturally wouldn't fall behind them. No matter what, he had to go to the small world first. I plan to get the Phoenix Wood back first. I think you don't have any objections, right? Lin Fei turned around and told the bloodthirsty Demon King. The bloodthirsty Demon King naturally knew that from the moment he handed the scroll to him and the Scarlet Demon King came looking for him, there would be some problems with their cooperation. No problem, no problem. I can give you a general location. When the time comes, you can come over. I will wait for you there. I will come over once I get the Phoenix Wood. Lin Fei still had to return this favor. If he didn't return it, it would be a little unreasonable. If the bloodthirsty Demon King hadn't told him, he wouldn't have known about the Phoenix Wood, although he would have found out if he was lucky. It seemed that not many people knew about the Phoenix Wood. As for whether the human race knew about it, he didn't know. Luo Shan and the others went in as well. After Luo Shan and the others went in, Lin Fei followed them in. As soon as he entered the tomb, Lin Fei's pupils constricted slightly. The void was filled with rays of light. These rays of light were very obscure and couldn't be detected at all. However, they were very powerful. A demon king charged around and bumped into several rays of light. These rays of light exploded with extremely powerful power, severely injuring the demon king and almost killing him. The tomb of the Heavenly King is indeed the tomb of the Heavenly King. It's different. I have to be careful. Lin Fei was also strong enough to detect the existence of these rays of light. These rays of light spread throughout the void like a spider's web. If he wasn't careful, he would bump into these rays of light. These foreign experts are more cautious. They must have more information. Lin Fei used the demon god escape technique and disappeared on the spot like a gust of wind. Inside the palace, Lin Fei also tried the demon god escape technique, but it wasn't as fast as outside. The rays of light quickly dodged the attack. Good movement technique. It's indeed a good movement technique. It's just that it consumes a lot of energy, but I can still handle it. Lin Fei first confirmed his location before heading straight for the Phoenix Wood. During this time, he also sensed that experts from the human race had entered. There was another spatial fluctuation in the tomb of the Heavenly King. It wasn't too obvious, but he could clearly feel that there was an entrance to the tomb. There was no doubt that experts from the human race had arrived. Therefore, Lin Fei had to get ahead of everyone else and get the Phoenix Wood first. It would be best if he could plot against Luo Shan. The most obvious thing in the tomb were the 32 huge stone tablets. Each stone tablet was indomitable and hundreds of feet tall. Just a single stone tablet could form an oppressive might and form a territory. Unfortunately, there were no words on these stone tablets. On the contrary, there were seals on these stone tablets that were extremely strong. One could vaguely sense the existence of small worlds, and each stone tablet occupied a huge area. They seemed to mind their own business. It should be in this area. Lin Fei's speed was extremely fast. He entered the range of a stone tablet. As soon as he entered the range of this stone tablet, he smelled the aura of danger. Bookhouse website, Chapter 4566. Lin Fei had indeed sensed a dangerous aura, and the most dangerous aura came from the surroundings of the stone tablet. Invisible methods were set up all around him. Looks like I should be the first to arrive. Luo Shan and the others should be behind me. After all, my demon god escape is no joke. Lin Fei did not hesitate. He bypassed these methods and approached the entrance of the small world. With a whoosh, he entered. From the beginning to the end, he had never encountered these traces. After he entered the small world, there was movement outside. It was obvious that someone had already arrived at this place. No matter who it was, they would be interested in the 32 ancient tombs of the Heavenly Kings. Without knowing the situation, they could only try their luck. He didn't expect to find an ancient tomb so quickly. Lin Fei secretly rejoiced that he had arrived quickly. Otherwise, someone would have beaten him to it. As soon as he entered, he saw that the entire world was filled with flames. The temperature of these flames was extremely high, almost burning Lin Fei into nothingness. These flames had a huge power of fire that constantly seeped in. With a thought from Lin Fei, the Heavenly King's body locked his body, and his entire body was like an iron plate. No matter how much the power of fire seeped in, it did not affect Lin Fei's body in the slightest. However, for ordinary human race experts, even if they were at the Saint King level, they would still be threatened by the power of fire. As expected of the place where the Phoenix Wood grows, the flames are indeed different. This place was filled with flames, but Lin Fei's demon god escape was still quite useful, so it did not affect him at all. Within the flames, there were constantly giants formed from flames that attacked Lin Fei. Lin Fei waved his hand and took out the sky extermination bow. With a single arrow, the flame giant was blown to smithereens. Wherever it passed, not a single flame giant could get close to Lin Fei, and they were all destroyed by the arrow. The deeper he went, the higher the temperature of the flames and the stronger the penetration. Fortunately, Lin Fei's half-step Heavenly King body was no joke. His body was even more different from other bodies, and his resistance had also become stronger. Is that the phoenix wood? Lin Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. He saw a huge tree appear in the middle of the flames. This tree was burning with raging flames, and on this tree there was actually a huge firebird. This firebird blotted out the sky. For a moment, Lin Fei wondered if this giant bird would crush the tree. There's actually a firebird protecting it. It seems like this should be the phoenix wood. Lin Fei was delighted. He had finally found the phoenix wood. The tree of life was also stirring. Wait, it seems like the firebird isn't protecting the phoenix wood, but something else. The sharp-eyed Lin Fei noticed a small problem. Beneath the firebird, one could vaguely see a beating heart. Composed of flames, it vaguely looked like a small phoenix. This caused Lin Fei to feel slightly surprised. The scroll that the bloodthirsty Demon King gave me didn't mention that there was a little phoenix on the phoenix wood. Although this little phoenix isn't a real phoenix and is just a condensation of its appearance, I can feel its extraordinary aura. Could it be a precious treasure? What kind of person was Lin Fei? He instantly understood what was going on. This small phoenix must be a treasure. Whether it's a treasure or not, it belongs to me now. There were already fluctuations outside, and naturally, some people had begun to charge in. Lin Fei wanted to end the battle quickly. As soon as he approached, the entrenched firebird fixed its eyes on Lin Fei. With a flap of its wings, 2 flaming storms swept over. This scroll made Lin Fei feel that it was almost comparable to the power of a heavenly king. What a powerful technique, what terrifying power. As expected of a small world left behind by a heavenly king powerhouse, this must be a manifestation of a divine ability. Lin Fei's body was instantly covered with a large sword intent defense. Then the sky destroyer bow moved. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Streams of light flew over. Every stream of light exploded in the storm, setting off waves after waves. These storms were very powerful. Thankfully, Lin Fei was not weak either. He sent out one attack after another and easily broke through these attacks. He also fixed his eyes on this big bird. The sky destroyer bow in his hand moved again. The sky full of arrow lights shot over like streams of light. This was also what Lin Fei had figured out himself. He felt that he had to do something fierce, no matter what. What could be more ferocious than a concentrated attack? Although he could consume about 30% of his strength in one go, it was still worth it. Lin Fei really didn't believe that anyone could withstand his attack in one go. The firebird obviously had some tricks up its sleeves. After being targeted by Liu Guang's trick, its body also burst into flames. It directly attacked and quickly collided with each other. Wave after wave of power continued to spread out. Good fella, it can actually withstand my first round of attacks. However, this firebird also consumes a lot of energy. It shouldn't be able to withstand my second attack. Lin Fei used the sky destroyer bow again, consuming another 30% of his strength. Streams of light filled the sky again. The streams of light were all real. The firebird let out a sharp cry. It was obviously using all its strength. Illusory things couldn't fight with Lin Fei for a long time. After the second round, the firebird seemed to be on the verge of death. Lin Fei shot another arrow through it. It directly exploded. The little phoenix seemed to be about to leave and stop struggling. Lin Fei reached out and grabbed. The little phoenix turned into a phoenix heart, which had the power of nirvana. It's indeed a treasure. It's really a treasure. This should be the heart of the phoenix. I heard that the heart of the phoenix has the power of nirvana. I didn't expect it to appear on the phoenix wood. I finally understand. Luo Shan should have come for the heart of the phoenix. Lin Fei put away the heart of the phoenix without any hesitation. Then he uprooted the phoenix wood and put it in. They came in. It seems like there's more than one group of people. Lin Fei's voice also faded away. He wanted to see who else was eyeing the phoenix wood. As soon as Luo Shan entered the small world, he released his treasures to resist the invasion of the power of fire. We should be considered early. No one can snatch my heart of the phoenix. In order to find this small world, Luo Shan had used a lot of treasures. After paying several dangers, he finally broke through. He could finally breathe a sigh of relief. He wasn't afraid that someone would beat him to it. We have the scroll in our hands. Naturally, we're the first to come in. The woman next to him also laughed. Even if the bloodthirsty Demon King and the Netherworld Demon King rush over, they won't be as fast as us. If they really want to, we can just give them another gift. I think they won't have this opportunity. The Scarlet Demon King should be looking for them. Chapter 45-67. When Lin Fei, who was in the dark, heard this, he frowned slightly and understood what was going on. Luo Shan, not only did he take the scroll, but he also dared to plot against me. If I'm not mistaken, the Scarlet Devil Demon King is here to kill us. Not only me, but also the bloodthirsty Demon King. This was beyond Lin Fei's expectations. Luo Shan was quite a ruthless person. He probably knew that the phoenix could produce the phoenix heart and was afraid that the news would leak out. That was why he wanted to kill these two people who knew about it. Lin Fei understood this. Unfortunately, he had heard it. Otherwise, Lin Fei would not have planned to do anything to Luo Shan. Unfortunately, Luo Shan was a little ruthless. Fortunately, I came a step ahead and took away the phoenix heart as well as the phoenix wood. They came here in vain. Originally, Lin Fei had planned to sneak out, but now it seemed that he had to stay and watch the show. It would be interesting to see their expectant faces turn into helplessness, anger, and unwillingness. As the saying went, happiness was built on the pain of others. Since Luo Shan had dared to arrange for the Scarlet Devil Demon King to kill him, he had to make him suffer. Luo Shan's group of 6 sage kings were extremely powerful. They carried many treasures with them and carried the power of fire all the way to the depths. Luo Shan's expression kept changing as he continued to walk inside. They had been walking for a long time, but they did not see the phoenix wood at all. Something's wrong. There should be no phoenix wood here. Logically speaking, the phoenix wood grows in the sea of fire. Naturally, we can see it when we look up. We can't say that there's a problem with the scroll. I think that scroll is genuine. It should be in this area. But where is the phoenix wood? Luo Shan frowned, took out the scroll again, and kept looking at it. No, it's clearly here. But why can't we find the phoenix wood? You guys split up and look. Maybe it's around here. The 4 Saint Kings quietly split up to search for him. Seeing this scene, Lin Fei's eyes lit up slightly. This Luo Shan won't be easy to deal with for the time being. However, since he's a subordinate, I can deal with him first. This can be considered as collecting some interest. With Lin Fei's current speed and strength, Luo Shan and the others could not detect him at all. Moreover, Luo Shan's thoughts were all on the phoenix wood. No, it should be the heart of the phoenix. It wasn't easy for them to come here, but in the end, they couldn't find the phoenix's heart. That was really shameful. Luo Shan also looked around, but he couldn't sense the presence of the phoenix wood at all. He clearly felt that he had come to the right place, but it disappeared just like that. Apart from the sea of fire, there was nothing else. We can't possibly say that someone else took it, right? A thought popped up in his mind, but he quickly suppressed it. He had rushed straight to this grotto heaven's small world, and there was no one faster than him. Even the method outside the door had not been broken, which meant that no one had entered. If one didn't break through the means outside and sneaked in without a trace, how powerful would one have to be? At the very least, Luo Shan couldn't do it. He was already a young master from another small world, and he had many tricks up his sleeves. If even he couldn't do it, then the geniuses from other small worlds could forget about hiding from him. However, the more it was like this, the more Luo Shan couldn't figure out what was going on. Could it be that the phoenix wood and the heart of the phoenix had already been taken away? The scroll that was left behind would only cause them to make a wasted trip. If that was really the case, it would be a big blow. Those guys have been gone for so long. Why haven't they found it yet? At this time, Luo Shan returned to his original place. When he returned to his original place, he couldn't help but frown when he didn't see his 4 subordinates return. The woman had also returned. I walked around and didn't find the phoenix wood, nor did I find any traces of anyone coming in. This is really strange. Did you see those 4 subordinates? The woman who had returned noticed that the 4 subordinates who had gone out earlier had not returned. No, I thought they were all back. No matter how stupid Luo Shan was, he still understood. This is bad. Something must have happened to them. There's someone hiding here. A powerful expert is hiding here. Luo Shan's face also started to turn pale. Those were the subordinates of 4 sage rulers. If they were to really fight, it would definitely cause a commotion. However, there was no movement at all, not even a single energy fluctuation. This was simply beyond Luo Shan's imagination. He immediately realized that there was an expert hiding in this small world. This expert had taken the phoenix wood and the heart of the phoenix. With a swoosh, a stream of light shot over. Luo Shan put up a defense in front of him, but the stream of light exploded as soon as it was put up. His entire body was sent flying by the explosion. As soon as the defense on his body was broken, the wandering power of fire instantly seeped in. Luo Shan's entire body was set ablaze, and he looked like a man on fire. The woman next to him gritted her teeth, took out a talisman, and directly hit Luo Shan's body with it, sealing him in ice. Luo Shan only returned to normal after the ice fragments cracked. However, his entire face was pale, and there were burn marks all over his body. He wouldn't be able to recover in a short period of time. "Who is it? Come out, you bastard!" Luo Shan roared angrily. Another stream of light flew over. This time, Luo Shan didn't dare to block it at all. The stream of light was too powerful. The woman next to him also launched an attack. However, after this attack was launched, it was directly crushed by the stream of light. Luo Shan was once again sent flying. Once again, the power of fire seeped in, and he screamed repeatedly. The mysterious person didn't appear, but instead attacked twice. This made Luo Shan understand what was called terror. This was definitely an expert who had surpassed the sage ruler realm, and it was very likely that he was a heavenly king expert. He didn't dare to imagine how there could be a heavenly king expert in the dark. Even if he wasn't a heavenly king expert, he was still a veteran expert at the peak of the sage ruler realm. "I'm from the Luo Gate small world. If you dare to attack me again, my sect will definitely not let you go. If you know what's good for you, hand over the phoenix wood and the heart of the phoenix. Otherwise, there will definitely be no place for you to hide at the ends of the earth." Lin Fei originally wanted to teach Luo Shan a small lesson. He also wanted to make him a scapegoat. He didn't expect this guy to have such a temper. He even dared to threaten him. He really didn't know who gave him this courage. A stream of light came. This time, Luo Shan couldn't withstand it at all. The stream of light directly passed through his defense and hit his body. Luo Shan was directly blown up and turned into ashes. The woman here released her treasures and ran outside. How could she dare to stay? However, this action was also superfluous. Following that, a stream of light also came, and this woman was also killed. Why bother? Originally, you still had a chance to live, But now there's nothing left. Bookseller's website. Chapter 4568. Lin Fei's strength had increased greatly, and he was now a half-step heavenly king. If he could find some more powerful tree species, such as the phoenix, would this time, after absorbing and refining it, his body would probably be able to reach the level of a heavenly king in one go. At that time, his strength would become even stronger. Unlike now, there were still some flaws in it. Right now, what Lin Fei needed to do was to find a place to let the divine tree of life refine the phoenix would as soon as possible. As for the other things in the Grotto Heaven's small world, Lin Fei was not interested in them for the time being. No matter how good the other things were, could they be better than the increase in his strength? Lin Fei destroyed the corpses and searched for the things before leaving the small world. About an hour after Lin Fei left the small world, a group of people arrived at the Grotto Heaven's small world. As soon as they entered, their faces frowned slightly, especially the white-clothed woman in the lead. Her beautiful brows furrowed slightly. It seems that we're too late. The phoenix should have been taken away by someone, and the phoenix heart should have been taken away by someone else. The several experts following behind the white-clothed woman revealed a look of astonishment. "Miss, it shouldn't be possible. We're finally faster. Or maybe the person who obtained the first half of the scroll came in first. However, we didn't sense the aura of the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart along the way. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and take a look. I can already smell the aura of death." The white-clothed woman and her group did not use any treasures at all. The originally terrifying power of fire had actually become docile and kept circling around the white-clothed woman. Just like that, they arrived at the phoenix wood. One of the experts took a deep breath and his expression changed. "There are traces of a battle here. It should have been an hour ago. All the people who died were saint rulers. I also smell a familiar aura here. It should be young Master Luoshan from the Luo Men world. His subordinates all died here." The woman in white firmly believed the words of the person next to her. "I didn't expect that the person who did this would be so bold. He even dared to attack Luoshan from the Luo Men world. He's not simple. We just don't know who did it. Why didn't we sense anything? Could it be that the phoenix wood was kept in a top-grade treasure box and cut off from our search? That shouldn't be the case. That's right. Young Mrs. Bloodline is the most sensitive. It's too strange that she didn't even feel it." The woman in white walked around in a circle. "It seems that I can only use my great karma technique. Only then can I find the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart." When the people behind him heard this, they couldn't help but feel nervous. "Miss, you can't do that. If you use the great karma technique, it will greatly affect your lifespan. Young miss, you don't have much lifespan left to begin with. If you use the great karma art, you will only have a few decades left." That person actually took away the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart. They must still be in the Heavenly King's ancient tomb. "With just the few of us, brothers, we can definitely find them." The few of them spoke in unison. They definitely didn't want their young miss to use the great karma technique. It was a technique that consumed a lot of lifespan. Unless it was absolutely necessary, no one would use it. It was extremely difficult to learn the great karma technique. The person who did this even dared to kill Luoshan. Naturally, he's someone with strength. Even the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart were hidden so well. If I don't use the great karma technique, you won't be able to find them. This is our only chance. You guys don't have to say anything. I've already made up my mind." The woman in white's words were much more serious. The people behind her didn't say anything else, but their faces were filled with worry. The woman in white formed a seal with her hands and instantly used the great karma technique. A faint light spot appeared, bringing with it a mysterious aura. As the woman in white pointed her finger, the light spot automatically disappeared without a trace. However, the woman in white's face turned pale, and she seemed to be in a weakened state. The expert beside her quickly took out a pill. The woman in white ate it, and her complexion returned to normal. Then let's see if the heavens protect us. Is that person still in the Heavenly King's ancient tomb? If he's not, it will be difficult to find him. At this point, the woman in white was also very curious. Who was it that had snatched the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart away? After all, these two things weren't so easy to take away. Taking them away was one thing, but to think that the person could hide them so well, not even a trace of their aura leaked out. She had no choice but to use the great karma technique, burning 30 years of her lifespan. Now, the woman in white only had 60 years of lifespan left. There were already a few strands of white hair in her black hair. The group came out of the small world. The woman in white formed another seal with her hands, and a smile finally appeared on her weak face. Seems like my luck is not bad. That person is in the Heavenly King's ancient tomb. Let's just head east. Lin Fei had already found small world in a grotto heaven. He began to refine the phoenix wood. This small world had been visited by others, and there was nothing left. Lin Fei sat in the void, allowing the divine tree of life to refine the phoenix wood. Hold on. Something seemed to have connected with me just now. It was faintly discernible. No, this is the great karma technique. What kind of person was Lin Fei? He was a person who had seen a lot. Just now, he had a vague feeling that there was a mysterious power connected to him. Although it was very vague, he was able to sense it immediately. What else could it be other than the great karma technique? That's not right. Someone used this karma technique on me. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. Lin Fei had never cultivated the great karma technique, but he knew that this technique was very powerful. When one's strength was cultivated to the extreme, they could kill experts instantly by relying on the connection of karma. This kind of method was really too rare. It could be said that there were very few people who could cultivate it. He didn't expect that he would be targeted by the karma technique. Could it be because of the phoenix wood? No, it should be because of the phoenix heart. Only then can I have a karma connection with the other party. It should be someone who has another scroll. Compared to Luo Shan, this person is much more powerful. He can actually use the great karma technique. Lin Fei glanced at the divine tree of life. The phoenix wood was almost done absorbing, so he was relieved. As for the phoenix heart, he didn't plan to refine it. Now that someone who knew the great karma technique had come, he would probably be a good buyer. Lin Fei didn't cut off the great karma technique. Others couldn't cut it off, but he could. However, he didn't do so. Book House Reading Website. Chapter 4569. That person hasn't left yet. The white-robed lady had been searching all the way over. Her great karma technique was very effective. However, the other party did not move, which surprised her a little. She heaved a sigh of relief. As long as the person hadn't left, everything would be fine. That person is in this small world up ahead. The great karma technique led the white-robed lady all the way to the outside of the grotto heaven. Outside this grotto heaven small world, all kinds of methods had been broken, which proved that this grotto heaven small world had already been visited by others. The white-robed lady was quite familiar with such situations. Young miss, wait outside first. We'll go in and find that person. We'll come in when there's no danger. The white-robed lady's people started talking. The white-robed lady shook her head. If I'm not mistaken, that person should know that I used the great karma technique. That's why he hasn't moved. He should be waiting for me. They knew very well how powerful their young miss was. Hearing this, they were slightly shocked. It was a little unexpected. Young miss, how is that possible? There are very few people who can successfully cultivate the great karma technique. Ordinary people really can't detect it. Could it be a mistake? Logically speaking, no one should be that powerful. There aren't many people in the vast 1,000 domains who have successfully cultivated the great karma technique. If it was an ordinary method, they naturally wouldn't be surprised. They also knew that the great karma technique wasn't something that could be cultivated casually. It was very difficult for someone who was targeted by the great karma technique to detect it, unless their strength reached a very strong level. In the spiritual realm, there weren't many people who were strong enough. Even outsiders like them weren't strong enough to detect the great karma technique. Nothing is impossible. All of you just wait outside. I'll go meet this person. I believe he won't have any ill intentions towards me. In the end, they still stayed outside. If the white-robed lady was in any danger, they would rush in at the first instant. The white-robed lady entered the grotto heaven. The entire grotto heaven was empty. She couldn't sense anyone. However, the great karma technique brought her to an inconspicuous place. Since you haven't left, why don't you meet me? Lin Fei was also waiting. Wait for the person who used the great karma art. He didn't expect the other party to arrive so quickly, especially when it was a woman. Lin Fei also knew that there were experts standing outside, and they were all extremely powerful. At the very least, it would be rather difficult to find such a group of powerhouses in the spiritual realm. It seemed that the white-robed woman had quite a background. Lin Fei walked out and shook off the great karma technique. It's rare to see someone as smart as you. I thought people like you would definitely come in with your subordinates to find me, or use some tricks. It seems that you're different from others. The woman in white had not expected that the person who could detect the great karma technique would be so young and ordinary. It was really inconspicuous. Unfortunately, the other party knew that he would come and knew that his subordinates were outside. He was glad that he had done the right thing. This person was very mysterious and extraordinary. The woman in white sensed an aura of death from the other party's body. In fact, he felt that even if he used his trump card, he might not be able to block it. This was a terrifying expert. She had never met such an expert before, and she didn't know which small world he had come from. I don't know what you want to talk to me about. If you wanted to meet me, you've met me now. Lin Fei was not in a hurry. He wanted to see what the woman in white wanted. She was most likely here for the phoenix heart. As for the phoenix wood, there was no chance. The divine tree of life was almost completely refined. I come from the Skyfire world. My name is Hua Xiao Xiao. I know that the phoenix heart was taken by you, so I want to know how you can take it out. You can name your conditions. Hua Xiao Xiao also knew what kind of situation she was in. If she wanted to get the phoenix heart, she had to offer something. The only thing she was glad about was that the other party had not left, but had waited for her here. This was also an opportunity for Hua Xiao Xiao. Otherwise, it would be difficult to find the other party if the other party did not have the idea to turn around and leave. Since the other party could detect the great karma technique, she could easily shake off the great karma technique. If she wanted to use the great karma technique a second time, it would be very harmful to Hua Xiao Xiao. More importantly, the other party already knew about the great karma technique. Lin Fei knew this would happen. This person was here for the heart of the phoenix. Looks like your Hua family has the bloodline of the phoenix. Lin Fei also believed that Hua Xiao Xiao had the bloodline of the Hoofing phoenix. The heart of the phoenix was like a priceless treasure to them. The phoenix heart is in my hands, but it's not essential to me. If you can really take out something that can move me, then it's not a problem to take out the phoenix heart. It all depends on whether you can understand my intentions. Hearing the other party admit it, Hua Xiao Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. At the very least, she finally knew about the existence of the phoenix heart. This time, she had come to the tomb to try her luck. Whether or not she could find the phoenix heart was still an unknown. She did not dare to make any guarantees. Immediately, Hua Xiao Xiao realized that the other party needed something. It was just that she needed something. She had to think about it. Perhaps this was a small problem that the other party had identified. If she could solve this problem, then she would naturally be able to get the phoenix heart. If she couldn't even solve this problem, then it would be even harder to get the phoenix heart. For the other party to stand here and wait for her, she must have great confidence in her own strength. Lin Fei had indeed thrown a small problem to the other party. He wanted to see if Hua Xiaoxiao could guess it. If she could guess it, then it would be even easier to negotiate. After all, his suggestion and Hua Xiaoxiao's guess were completely different. I can give you the time of an incense stick to think about it. After that I might leave. Lin Fei's lips curled into a faint smile. I don't need the time of an incense stick. I can guess it now. Hua Xiaoxiao said very seriously. Lin Fei smiled. Then I'm all ears. I hope you can satisfy me. Hua Xiaoxiao also took a deep breath. If I'm not wrong, you should be more interested in the special tree of God because you took the phoenix wood. However, I did not sense the aura of the phoenix wood. You should have refined it or kept it. I don't know if I'm right. Chapter 4570. Hua Xiaoxiao was really smart. She had guessed Lin Fei's intention in a short time. If you want a special sacred tree, a phoenix wood alone is not enough. However, our Hua family knows several special sacred trees that can meet your needs. Hua Xiaoxiao was really smart. She had guessed the other party's intention in an instant. Since he could wait for her here and didn't refine the heart of the phoenix, there was no doubt that he was interested in this aspect. When she thought of this, Hua Xiaoxiao was still very uncertain. She felt that it was impossible. In the end, she still said so. She trusted her judgment. This young man in front of her must want the sacred tree. Although the effect of the sacred tree was quite good, there were very few people who could use it. It was very rare, but not impossible. Lin Fei smiled and clapped his hands. You're really smart. You figured it out so quickly. Yes, I am indeed interested in the sacred tree. As long as you can give me a sacred tree that can move my heart, then we'll cooperate. Naturally, there won't be any problems. I can give you the heart of the phoenix. Finally, Hua Xiaoxiao heard a sentence that satisfied her. Can I see the heart of the phoenix? Lin Fei didn't think too much about it. The item was in his hands. No one could snatch the phoenix heart away from him. So he took out the heart of the phoenix. As soon as she opened it, Hua Xiaoxiao knew that it was a genuine heart of the phoenix. She didn't expect that she was a step too late. The person in front of her beat her to it. Luo Shan of the Luo Men world was also killed by this person. I saw it. However, it will take some time to get the sacred tree. I don't know which world you're from. Let's set a time to trade. Hua Xiaoxiao had made this trip to the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King for the phoenix heart. Now that she saw the heart of the phoenix, she was relieved. All that was left was to exchange for the heart of the phoenix. 3 months. Come to the spiritual world and we'll trade there. I believe you can feel the location of the heart of the phoenix. Hua Xiaoxiao was shocked. She was a little surprised by these words. She subconsciously thought that this person was from a small world. However, from the looks of it now, it didn't seem to be this person. It was very likely that he was a native of the spirit realm. However, in Hua Xiaoxiao's eyes, the spirit world was a very unremarkable minor world. There were no experts, no treasures, and even very few Heavenly King experts. Yet he was born and raised in the spiritual realm. I bet you're quite surprised that someone like me is born and raised in the spirit realm. Actually, there's nothing to be surprised about. Hua Xiaoxiao did have such a thought for a moment. Now that she heard it, she knew that she had thought too far ahead. All right, 3 months it is. 3 months later. I will definitely bring the tree of God here, as long as you are satisfied. Lin Fei was naturally not worried that Hua Xiaoxiao would play another trick. If they dared to play another trick, the sky extermination bow in his hands was no joke. If 1 came, he could blow up 1. If 2 came, he could blow up 2. There was no problem at all. Just as Hua Xiaoxiao was about to turn around and leave, the sounds of fighting suddenly came from outside. It was very intense. You can't go in. Stop them. We can't let them hurt the young miss. Swoosh! A red figure rushed in. I knew there was a treasure inside. It seems that this thing is quite good. The person's voice spread in the small world of the grotto heaven. In a few breaths' time, the figure came to a place not far away from them. It turned out to be a handsome young master. At this moment, his eyes instantly fell on Lin Fei. Well, the treasure should be with you. Considering that it's not easy for you to cultivate, hand over the treasure and I can let you go. Otherwise, once I take action, you will definitely die. When Hu Xiaoxiao saw the handsome young master, her expression changed slightly. She recognized him. Scram! A cold voice came out of Lin Fei's mouth. The young master still had a smile on his face. I always thought that I had a temper, but I didn't expect that there would be someone with a bigger temper than me. How dare you ask me to scram? Do you know who I am? I am from the Sky Saint sect. My name is Dubai. Of course, Lin Fei knew about the Sky Saint sect. As for Dubai, he had never heard of the top celestial sect in the spiritual realm. However, his aura was not weak. At such a young age, he had broken through to the level of a holy king, which was relatively rare. It was no wonder that he had such a big temper. Since he asked him to hand over the treasure as soon as he came, it was obvious that he had something that could find treasures. Otherwise, he would not have been able to find him. Lin Fei laughed. It turns out that you are from the Sky Saint sect. No wonder you are so arrogant. However, I am quite interested in the treasure you have. Hand it over after the count of 3, and you can leave. If you don't hand it over, you will die immediately. It's that simple. As a member of the Sky Saint sect, Dubai had outstanding potential and a bright future. Naturally, he also had a powerful treasure. However, he did not expect that someone would speak more arrogantly than him. Knowing that he was from the Sky Saint sect, he still dared to speak to him like this. He really did not take him seriously. I didn't expect that someone would target my treasure before I took action. You are quite interesting. While they were chatting, Dubai made his move. In an instant, countless lightning bolts descended from his body. They were like lightning serpents swimming around, causing the void to crack. These lightning snakes continuously charged at Lin Fei. This move displayed the strength of a holy king. As the lightning snakes slithered around, the void collapsed, which was a great threat to the physical body. However, the corners of Lin Fei's mouth curled up slightly. He spread out his 5 fingers and reached forward. Dubai instantly felt a terrifying and dangerous aura. The lightning snakes collapsed one by one. These 5 fingers were like mountains, and they instantly pinched him. The moment he was pinched, lightning flashed on Dubai's body and pierced towards Lin Fei's palm like spears. However, when these thunderbolts landed on Lin Fei's palm, they were completely useless. Dubai's neck was pinched by Lin Fei. The thunderbolt technique is a good technique, but the power that you can display is too weak. I can only say that you are unlucky. Lin Fei exerted force in his hand, and a wave of power surged out. Dubai did not even have the chance to scream. He directly turned into fragments on the ground, but the ring remained intact. It fell into Lin Fei's hand casually. This kind of person really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. What do you think? Chapter 4571. There were a lot of changes in Hua Xiaoxiao's eyes, which verified the conjecture in her heart. She naturally knew about Dubai and the existence of the Heavenly Saint Gate. This was the #1 immortal sect in the spirit world, and it was extremely powerful. They were the most likely force to unify the entire spiritual realm. The mysterious young man in front of them had killed a saint ruler without any effort. His strength was unfathomable. It was no wonder that the other party agreed so quickly. This showed that he was extremely confident in his own strength. You killed the heavenly sacred gates, Dubai. There will be a lot of trouble. The heavenly sacred gate is not that easy to get along with. Hua Xiaoxiao reminded him. He had also learned about the situation in the spirit realm before coming here. Naturally, he knew more about the Heavenly Saint Gate, the #1 immortal sect, the #1 expert. Lin Fei said calmly, "I have never been courteous to those who don't have eyes. Even if the heavenly sacred faction wants to find trouble with me, they have to be prepared for casualties. If 10 Saint Kings die, perhaps there is nothing to be afraid of, but if 10 or 20 Saint Kings die, no matter who it is, they will feel heartache." Hua Xiaoxiao found it hard to refute these words. In reality, this was the logic. The more Saint Kings died, the greater the impact on a faction's influence. Even the Heavenly Saint Gate would not be able to withstand such an attack. Furthermore, with the other party's strength, it would be easy for him to kill a Saint King. At that time, it would not be difficult for 10 to 20 Saint Kings to die, but to the Heavenly Saint Gate, it would definitely be a great blow. Hua Xiaoxiao left. Although the people outside were restraining Hua Xiaoxiao and the others, they were no match for them and were easily repelled. Only after Hua Xiaoxiao left did they enter the Grotto Heaven's small world. After entering, they found that young Master Du Bai had disappeared. There was not even a trace of his aura, and everyone was greatly shocked. Before they could come back to their senses, they saw a stream of light coming over and instantly killed them. Naturally, Lin Fei was the one who made the move. If he wanted to cut the weeds, he would have to remove the roots. Even if the Heavenly Saint sect was the #1 immortal sect, it wouldn't stop Lin Fei from killing these people. From Du Bai's storage ring, Lin Fei took out a treasure. It was a compass-shaped treasure. After pondering for a moment, he understood. Moreover, he knew its specific uses. As expected of the Heavenly Saints faction, to think that they would possess such a magic treasure. It is actually a treasure for searching treasures. I can use it to search for treasures inside the tomb of the Heavenly King. That way, I won't be making a wasted trip. Lin Fei erased the mark on the feng shui treasure and placed his own mark on it. Now he could use it. Once the compass treasure was activated, it would automatically search for it. As long as he followed this direction, he would be able to find it. This treasure-hunting treasure didn't care about ordinary treasures, but it reacted very strongly to powerful treasures. After Lin Fei came out of the Grotto Heaven pocket world, he discovered that there were at least 3 places with the most intense fluctuations. Let's go to the place in the middle. This treasure has the strongest fluctuations. I can take a look at it. What is it? Lin Fei had already obtained the phoenix wood and the phoenix heart. Therefore, there was nothing to be anxious about. What was left was to search for powerful treasures. He didn't expect that Du Bai would send him a treasure-hunting treasure. This treasure was of the Sage King level. It could search for the most powerful treasures within a certain range. Along the way, from time to time, he could activate some skills. Of course, he could also see the people fighting. They were obviously fighting for something. It should be this pocket world. Lin Fei came to the front of a pocket world. There were methods set up in front of the pocket world. As soon as Lin Fei got close, he saw a resplendent light coming at him. He raised his hand and pressed forward, breaking the resplendent light. In the blink of an eye, he was in the pocket world. As soon as he entered, there were energy fluctuations. It was obvious that there were people fighting here. This thing belongs to our 9 Spectres sect. No one can snatch it away. What is your 9 Spectres sect? Have you asked our divine martial sect? Lin Fei heard it clearly. He couldn't help but laugh. He had just killed some experts from the 9 Spectres sect not long ago. He didn't expect to meet them here so soon. However, he knew about this divine martial sect, one of the 10 celestial sects. It seemed like the thing they were fighting for should be quite precious. The more precious it was, the more Lin Fei cared about it. Otherwise, this treasure-hunting treasure wouldn't have brought him here. After walking for quite a distance, Lin Fei finally saw a group of people fighting. At first glance, it seemed that the 3 parties were locked in a fierce battle, but they were all evenly matched. Not far away, there was something that made Lin Fei's eyes light up. No wonder the treasure hunting caused such a huge commotion. It is actually an armor. This armor is even a Heavenly King grade armor. It wasn't a surprise to find a Heavenly King treasure in the tomb. It was just that he didn't expect to find a Heavenly King armor here. This thing was still useful to Lin Fei. It could make one's defense even stronger. At the very least, a Heavenly King armor could dissipate most of the power. Along with the physical body of a Heavenly King, one could say that he wouldn't be injured even if he stood. There was no way Lin Fei would miss out on such a good item. Lin Fei instantly used the Demon God Escape technique. The Demon God Escape technique was like a gust of wind and didn't leave any after images. It directly passed through the crowd and arrived next to the Heavenly King armor. At this moment, there was no one beside the Heavenly King armor. No one could enter. As soon as Lin Fei grabbed the Heavenly King treasured armor, a phantom image appeared on it. It pressed down with a palm. Lin Fei raised his head and met it with a palm. There was a loud explosion. A ripple swept out. The three parties that were fighting were immediately blasted away by the energy wave. They couldn't even stand properly. When they looked back and saw that there was a young man next to the Heavenly King armor, their expressions changed and they became even more furious. Someone wanted to steal the Heavenly King armor right under their noses. Bastard, this thing is what our 9 specters sect wants. Let's go and kill this guy first. You want to take away the Heavenly King armor right under our noses? Don't even think about it. Everyone attack together. The 3 sides were very united. They wanted to kill this person first. When they fought against the shadow, just now, they could feel that this young man was very strong. He was so strong that they couldn't even fight against him. After Lin Fei took a palm, he saw the 3 sides attack directly. They had all kinds of methods. Starlight shone brightly and they were very aggressive. I've taken a liking to this armor. It belongs to me now. Lin Fei's body instantly burst with light and directly collided with the light. Boom and boom. Peak. Chapter 4572. With a single palm strike, Lin Fei had neutralized all of these attacks. The 3 forces finally realized that the young man in front of them was actually a Demon King. They didn't know the Demon King and were quite unfamiliar with him. They couldn't help but be shocked. Since when did the Demon Nation have such an expert? It was no wonder that their methods were so easily broken by someone. Lin Fei struck out with another palm strike. The palm wind was like a torrent. It washed over everyone's bodies. With this wash, everyone's great path defenses were propped up. Then they quickly collapsed. One by one, they were sent flying. Whoa! A sword intent swept across and instantly slashed at them. In an instant, countless experts were killed on the spot by this sword. These people weren't weak, but after breaking through their great Dao defenses, they didn't have much combat power at all. Moreover, the human body was the weakest. After being slashed by Lin Fei's sword, most of them died. If you don't want to die by my sword, scram immediately. Scram as far as you can. The people from the 9 Spectres sect and the Divine Force sect didn't dare to attack again. Such a tyrannical Demon King wasn't someone they could fight at all. In this exchange, they had suffered heavy losses. I didn't expect the Demon Nation to have such a powerful guy like you. You killed so many of our people. You should at least leave a name. They really couldn't beat him, but they were all from the 10 major immortal sects. They were powerful, so they naturally had to vent their anger. Lin Fei smiled faintly. Naturally, it's not a problem to know my name. Remember, my name is Demon King, Netherworld. The words Yellow Springs Demon King echoed in their minds. Their hearts trembled as a surge of energy exploded within them. The explosion caused them to bleed from their orifices. They were all battered and didn't dare to stay any longer. They turned around and left. They were quite unfamiliar with Demon King, Netherworld. They didn't have any information about him at all. This was a new rising expert in the Demon Nation. When they returned, they had to properly investigate this Demon King, Netherworld. He was actually so powerful. They, the Sage Kings, were actually no match for him. They felt a little embarrassed. Lin Fei did not chase after these people, since he had used the name of the Yellow Springs Demon King. He naturally had to spread this name. Without a doubt, the 9 Serene Gate and the Divine Force Gate would definitely investigate him. However, the result of the investigation would be extremely disappointing. There was no such person in the Demon Kingdom at all. Even if there was no information to speak of. Lin Fei turned around and subdued the Heavenly King armor. This Heavenly King treasure armor was called the Devil Fire Treasure Armor, a treasured armor of the fire attribute. Not only could it be used for defense, but it could also release raging flames. Within a certain range, it would turn into an azure field. It was extremely terrifying. This also caused Lin Fei to be slightly shocked. The Heavenly King treasure armor really did have some background. It was completely different from what he had imagined. Lin Fei wore the Heavenly King armor, and the effect was pretty good. After he put on the armor, a small accident occurred. No, it should be a small surprise. The tree of life in his body had finally finished refining the phoenix wood. After refining it, there was actually a trace of flame. This trace of flame was actually purple, and it exuded a dangerous aura. Flame of the Great Path. Such a strong flame of the Great Path. It actually reached the first rank directly. Lin Fei had never encountered such a thing before. He had a guess in his heart, so he refined the purple heavenly flame. After refining, it instantly merged into the demonic fire armor. Instantly, the armor turned into a purple flame. In an instant, the surroundings turned into a purple sea of fire. The sea of fire burned the void. Crackle! So terrifying. It seems that this demonic fire armor and I are fated. Its power has increased by a lot. If the 9 Serene Gate and the Divine Force Gate knew about this, it would probably be too late for regrets. No matter what, they would have to fight me to the death. Lin Fei could indeed feel that the demonic fire armor's power had increased by a lot, especially the heavenly flame, which was even more domineering. In the surroundings, people with weak bodies would be penetrated by the power of the fire, and their bodies would be directly threatened. It could be said that the treasured armor's power had increased by a lot. Lin Fei was also quite satisfied. Coming out of the small world, Lin Fei was about to search for the next small world when he remembered something. He had promised the bloodthirsty Demon King that he would help him. He had almost forgotten about this matter. After confirming the location, he went to look for the bloodthirsty Demon King. He did not forget Luo Shan's words. The Scarlet Demon King had probably gone to look for the bloodthirsty Demon King. Since he knew about this, Lin Fei had to let the bloodthirsty Demon King know what regret was. He could not let him kill the bloodthirsty Demon King, no matter what. If not for the bloodthirsty Demon King, he would not have obtained these things. He could forget about cooperating with people from other small worlds. He had also seen the Great Karma Technique. That Huo Xiao was still quite powerful. She had mastered the Great Karma Technique. When she became stronger, she could use the Great Karma Technique to kill experts with doppelgangers. They would die instantly. Lin Fei was quite satisfied with this cooperation. He believed that Huo Xiao would not let him down. Lin Fei had the demon escape, so his speed was naturally fast. After going around and around, he found a small world in the grotto heaven. He plunged in. As soon as he entered, he felt that the bloodthirsty Demon King's aura was weakening. It was not as strong as it was at the beginning. If he was right, the Scarlet Demon King must have tricked him. The air was filled with the smell of blood. Scarlet Demon King, you are indeed ruthless. I did not expect you to trick me in a place like this. By the lake, the bloodthirsty Demon King half knelt on the ground, surrounded by corpses. He had been dead for a while. Even the other 2 Sage Kings were on the ground. I had no choice. Someone bought your life, so I had to kill you. Anyway, no one would suspect you if you died in the tomb of the Ancient King. I can only say that you were unlucky. The Scarlet Demon King was a little disheveled. He had underestimated the bloodthirsty Demon King's ability. He had almost been defeated. Fortunately, he had severely injured the bloodthirsty Demon King. Now, it was impossible for the bloodthirsty Demon King to escape. The Scarlet Demon King walked over step by step. He was ready to give the bloodthirsty Demon King the final blow and destroy him. When his injuries recovered, he would go and finish off the Yellow Springs Demon King. At that time, the mission would be completed. The bloodthirsty Demon King was a little regretful. He already knew what was going on. Luo Shan must have wanted to kill him, because he knew the scroll. Indeed, the young masters of the foreign world were ruthless. Even the Scarlet Demon King had been bribed. The bloodthirsty Demon King knew that he was finished. He was dead for sure. Even if you kill me, you will regret it if you try to deal with the Yellow Springs Demon King. He will definitely take your life. Crimson Devil Demon King laughed heartily. That Yellow Springs Demon King? When the time comes, I can destroy him easily. With a poof, a palm passed through the Scarlet Demon King's body. Are you sure you can deal with me? Top. Chapter 4573. The voice sounded familiar to the Crimson Devil Demon King. He could not recall who it was for a moment. He lowered his head, and when he saw the outstretched hand, he instinctively turned around. Then he saw a figure that was beyond his imagination. It's you. How did you manage to find me? I heard Luo Shan's words, so I came to have a chat with you. Unfortunately, you're too slow. I had no choice but to do it myself. Lin Fei snickered as he willed it. The Crimson Devil Demon King felt the essence, spirit in his body being sucked dry. In the blink of an eye, he lost consciousness and collapsed. The bloodthirsty Demon King stared at the Yellow Springs Demon King with wide eyes, unable to recover. The majestic Crimson Devil Demon King was killed just like that. It was faster and easier than expected. Since when did the Yellow Springs Demon King become so strong that he could kill the Crimson Devil Demon King so easily? Thank you, Brother Yellow Springs, for saving my life. From now on, if you need any help, just let me know. I will do my best, the bloodthirsty Demon King said in a low voice. He could naturally tell that the Yellow Springs Demon King's strength had increased greatly. He was no longer the same as when they fought. Even the Crimson Devil Demon King, one of the 10 Demon Kings, was killed so easily. The Yellow Springs Demon King must be even stronger. He immediately corrected his attitude. Lin Fei had used the Demon God Escape to get behind the Crimson Devil Demon King. Unfortunately, he did not react. He was just unlucky. Did you get the item? If not, I can help you, Lin Fei said. The bloodthirsty Demon King laughed bitterly. I got the item, but I fell into the Crimson Devil Demon King's trap. Both of them died. Lin Fei finally understood what was going on. The Crimson Devil Demon King followed them all the way here, using the excuse of helping. But the moment he got the item, he attacked and caught them off guard. 2 Demon Kings were killed. The bloodthirsty Demon King was severely injured, and the entire team was almost wiped out. This Scarlet Demon King is pretty smart. He actually chose this moment to strike. Lin Fei laughed. Since you've got the things, you should find a place to heal your wounds and leave this ancient tomb. The people here are much more difficult to deal with than you. Thank you for the reminder. I will leave the ancient tomb soon. This place is indeed not easy to survive in. Actually, the bloodthirsty Demon King knew what to do even without being told. It would take some time for him to recover from his injuries, so he had no choice but to leave the tomb. I heard that this Scarlet Demon King knows a lot of secrets. I believe there must be some secrets hidden in his ring. Brother Yellow Springs, you can take a look. Perhaps you will find something new in the tomb, the bloodthirsty Demon King said as he left. Lin Fei picked up the storage ring and broke the seal. He was curious as to what secrets this Scarlet Demon King knew. There were a lot of things in his ring. Spirit stones, cultivation techniques, and elixirs were all available. For the time being, Lin Fei was not interested in any of them. However, the last map piqued Lin Fei's interest. This was a map of the ancient tomb of the Sky King, and it was very detailed. This was the most detailed map that Lin Fei had ever seen. All the tombs of the Sky King were marked. Unlike the map in Lin Fei's hand, which was very blurry, he could roughly figure out the general location, but it was not as detailed as this one, as expected of the 10 great demon kings. Even the map of the Sky King's tomb is so detailed. On this map, there was a big red heart marked in the center. This piqued Lin Fei's interest. Could it be that this ancient tomb is the most powerful of the 32 ancient tombs? Lin Fei had entered a few ancient tombs, and the many worlds inside were indeed very different. However, there were not many that made him feel threatened. In that case, I can go take a look at this ancient tomb. This ancient tomb was called the South Moon Ancient Tomb. Lin Fei had never heard of the South Moon Ancient Tomb, nor had he heard of the South Moon Heavenly King. Since this Scarlet Demon King marked it with a big red heart, of course, Lin Fei had to go take a look. What if it was really the most lively ancient tomb? Lin Fei was very interested in this kind of thing. Once the demon god escape was activated, Lin Fei shuttled through the void. There were rays of divine light in the void, but Lin Fei was able to avoid them one by one with ease. He arrived at the South Moon Ancient Tomb. As soon as he arrived outside the South Moon Ancient Tomb, Lin Fei smiled. Outside the South Moon Ancient Tomb, there were actually 5 sage king powerhouses guarding outside. It was really very rare. So far, Lin Fei had not found anyone guarding in front of any ancient tomb. However, there were actually 5 sage kings in front of this South Moon Ancient Tomb, and they were the very strong kind. It was hard not to be surprised. 5 sage king powerhouses. Lin Fei did not recognize them. They were very unfamiliar and did not look like sage kings from the spiritual realm. They looked more like sage kings brought by the young masters outside. No wonder they were so arrogant guarding outside. Who is it? Come out. Lin Fei just stopped in the void. One of the 5 sage kings instantly made a move. A treasure flew in and directly smashed towards Lin Fei. Lin Fei flicked out a divine light, hitting the treasure and sending it flying. Then he also came out. His reaction is quite fast. Lin Fei flicked a treasure away with a finger, which made the Sage King powerhouse's expression change. This is the territory of our Heavenly Fire sect. No one is allowed to enter. The 5 Sage King powerhouses said coldly. How would Lin Fei know anything about the Heavenly Fire sect? It sounded grand, but since he was here, he had to go in. So much nonsense. Lin Fei snorted coldly. With this cold snort, the bodies of the 5 Sage Kings trembled. Then Lin Fei came in front of them. The void collapsed and a force hit their bodies. In an instant, everyone staggered and couldn't stand steadily anymore. A sword was slashed across their bodies, and the great Tao defense of the 5 Sage Kings was broken. All of them vomited blood. They could not even stop it. How can there be such a strong person here? We can't withstand it at all. This is bad. Quickly go in and inform the young master and the others. Even now, they still had lingering fears. They could not withstand it at all. How could there be such a strong guy? And he seemed to be a demon king. They had also fought with demon kings before, but they were far from this strong. They could not withstand it at all, and even their great Tao defense collapsed instantly. As soon as Lin Fei entered the small world, he felt that it was completely different. It really is a little different. As expected of Heavenly King Nanyue's small world, I said that I would have a good harvest here. Lin Fei sensed it for a moment, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. He could not help but smile. It is indeed a good place. Chapter 4574. In this small world of Heavenly King Nanyu, Lin Fei did find something useful to him. There was actually a divine tree here. This divine tree's ranking was not very high, but it was very tall. Its entire body was decorated with starlight. This was a starlight divine tree. It could absorb the power of starlight. At this moment, there were people picking starlight fruits. They were condensed. The starlight fruits grew one by one. They were very beautiful. The greatest use of these starlight fruits was that after refining, they could be used to create a treasure body, which was the heavenly king body. It was called the starlight treasure body. There was no fighting here, and it was very quiet. A few Saint King experts were attacking the starlight divine tree, and they took the opportunity to pick the starlight fruits. This was also the reason why Lin Fei smiled when he came in. He did not expect his luck to be so good to actually find a divine tree. Its ranking was average. At the very least, it was a divine tree. For Lin Fei, it was very useful. How could Lin Fei miss such a rare opportunity? Those people seemed to have a strong background, and Lin Fei did not think much of it. As soon as he came over, a large net appeared in the void, blocking Lin Fei's path. Lin Fei raised his hand and punched out, sending the large net flying. As soon as he made his move, the Saint King experts on the other side sensed it. On a stone platform, a young expert stood, and he looked over with a cold gaze. What are the people outside doing? They actually let someone slip in. An expert next to the young man waved his hand, and the area where Lin Fei was instantly collapsed. The power of the void came crashing down. It was ferocious and swift, not giving anyone a chance to react at all. The void power collapsed, and when it got close to Lin Fei, it stopped. The void around Lin Fei also collapsed, and the two forces collided, disintegrating the opponent's power. I heard that Heavenly King Nan Yu's small world doesn't belong to anyone. When did it become your territory? Lin Fei neutralized Zhang Xian's attack with a single move. The expert next to the young man was shocked. He had underestimated this kid. You don't know what's good for you. How dare you act so impudently in front of our heavenly fire sect? How dare you spout such arrogant words? I'll kill you. In an instant it shook. He arrived behind Lin Fei. The moment he appeared, the void around Lin Fei collapsed as a wave of power slammed into the other party's body. Following that, a resplendent light burst forth, riddling the other party like a beehive. He couldn't be more dead. Even the great path defense on his opponent's body could not withstand the sword will attack at this moment. It was gone. Friend, you probably don't mind me taking care of this blind guy for you. Not everyone can be casually killed. Who asked me to have a good temper and only kill him? At this moment, the young man's expression finally changed. The expert beside him was an expert at the peak of the Saint King stage, and some of them were even half a step away from reaching the level of a heavenly king. He did not expect that they would be easily killed by the other party. He didn't even see any tricks. Such a person did have some ability. Do you know that I am from the Heavenly Fire Sect? You're making an enemy of the Heavenly Fire Sect. You should know what the consequences are. The young man snorted coldly. Lin Fei didn't know anything about the Heavenly Fire Sect. The name sounded quite scary. Lin Fei was not someone who would be scared by a few words. Don't use the Heavenly Fire Sect to scare people. It's useless against me. If you dare to say the words Heavenly Fire Sect again, I don't mind sending you to hell. Anyway, you guys are no match for me. The young man's expression became more serious. Since he dared to not take the Heavenly Fire Sect seriously, could it be that he was also from another small world? Or a very famous, low-level small world? From the fact that the other party could break in and easily kill his subordinates. The other party's strength must have reached the peak of the Saint King stage. He was even half a step away from the level of a heavenly king. Such a person was very difficult to deal with. It was not easy to find a starlight treasure tree. The young man was a little reluctant to give it up, just like that. We saw this starlight treasure tree first, And we also saw the Starlight Treasure Fruit first. If you really want to take it by force, I don't mind playing a few rounds with you. The young man naturally wouldn't let his reputation down. I'm not too interested in this Starlight Treasure Fruit. This thing is only useful for ordinary people. I can wait for you guys to finish picking the Starlight Treasure Fruit first. There aren't many people as generous as me. You have to cherish this opportunity. Lin Fei said unhurriedly, calm and composed. The more he was like this, the more the young man couldn't see through him. He didn't even take the heavenly fire sect seriously, and he didn't even seem to care about the Starlight Treasure Fruit. What was this person's goal? For a moment his expression was different, and countless thoughts came to mind. Are you sure you don't want the Starlight Treasure Fruit? The effect of the treasure fruit was very powerful. As long as a certain amount was obtained, one could cultivate the Starlight Treasure Body. It was the dream of many people to reach the level of a heavenly king in one fell swoop. The number was very large. If one could find the Starlight Treasure Fruit, they would naturally have the chance to cultivate the Starlight Treasure Body. The young man was very surprised that the person in front of him didn't seem to care, and he couldn't see through him. He couldn't possibly say that he was going to take advantage of others, right? Do you think I care about this kind of thing? Even if it's piled up in front of me, I won't even look at it. Lin Fei laughed. I'm very interested in the Starlight Treasure Tree behind you, so I'll wait for you guys to pick the Starlight Mango before I take action. I think you guys have no objections, right? The young man was stunned again. Someone had actually come for the Starlight Treasure Tree. This was very rare. Some people also wanted to take the Starlight Treasure Tree back and plant it so that they could obtain the Starlight Treasure Fruit. Unfortunately, no one had succeeded so far. As a result, the young man let out a sigh of relief. As long as you don't want the Starlight Treasure Fruit, everything is fine. The Starlight Treasure Tree is not a problem. The sage rulers were all ready to fight. As soon as they heard this, they continued to pick the Starlight Treasure Fruit, and their movements were much faster. May I know which world you are from? This is the Starlight Treasure Tree, and it's not something that just anyone can plant. How could Lin Fei not know that the other party was testing him this time? I'm just a nobody. This little bit of strength is insignificant. As for my name, there's nothing much to say. Lin Fei smiled faintly. Apex. Chapter 45-75. Lin Fei casually found a place to sit down. The young gentleman was a little puzzled that he did not know the other party's background, but thinking about it, it made sense. Someone who could easily deal with an expert next to him was naturally not a nobody. Fortunately, the other party did not seem to be interested in the Starlight Treasure Fruit, so he was relieved. The other party did not want it, but he was not like the other party. He had finally come across the Starlight Treasure Fruit, so he had to pick them all. From beginning to end, Lin Fei did not look at the other party. He just stood there quietly. Those who did not know would have thought that it was a subordinate. An hour later, the Starlight Treasure Fruit on the Starlight God Tree had been picked clean. The young gentleman finally smiled. Needless to say, he was still under pressure, especially in a situation where he could not see through the other party and could also kill a Peak Saint King subordinate. How could he not be afraid of the other party? He also knew that in the vast 1,000 domains, there were many experts. It was very normal to meet an expert. Fortunately, his goal had been achieved, and the rest was simple. The young gentleman did not think of revenge at all. The other party did not care about the Heavenly Fire sect, but he was naturally a capable person. He did not need to fight to the death with the other party. After all, this was the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King. There were a lot of experts here. If they were ambushed by someone, who could they complain to? He had encountered this kind of thing several times, and there was a shadow in his heart. I have always kept my word. If I don't want the Starlight Treasure Fruit, then I don't want it. Now that you have all picked it, it's time for me to take action. Hearing the word take action, the young gentleman was a little afraid, and subconsciously called the Saint King experts back. They stood behind him. In the end, Lin Fei did not even look at them, and directly came to the side of the Starlight God Tree. As soon as he came, the Starlight God Tree blossomed with thousands of rays of light. Each ray of light was extremely powerful, reaching the peak Saint King level. Some even reached the half-step Heavenly King level. It was a very powerful counterattack. As soon as these attacks got close to Lin Fei, they were repelled by the collapsing power around him. Stop struggling. You're no match for me. Be a good boy and give me your last bit of power. Lin Fei's 2 hands landed on the Starlight God Tree, and countless starlights exploded. It was simply unable to withstand Lin Fei's power. There was a loud, rumbling sound. The massive Starlight God Tree was actually lifted up by Lin Fei. The young man standing in the distance also sucked in a breath of cold air. He didn't expect this guy to be so strong. Even the Starlight Treasure Tree was shaken, and he still wanted to uproot it. Could it be that he really had to bring it back and plant it as he had guessed? Everyone knew that these sacred trees were very difficult to grow, and there were very few that could grow. Therefore, when everyone saw the sacred tree, they naturally didn't have much interest. However, this brat before him had exceeded his expectations and really wanted to take him away. Whoosh! The Starlight God Tree was uprooted, and countless starlights exploded, instantly enveloping the entire area. The young man immediately retreated with his men, and only stopped when they were far away. The area in front was covered in starlights, and no one knew what was going on. The young man couldn't wait to see such an expert die inside. Unfortunately, his wish was a little disappointed. After the starlights dispersed, a figure walked out. The Starlight God Tree had actually disappeared. It was obvious that it had been kept. A ring that could store such a large Starlight God Tree was definitely not an ordinary ring. For a moment, the young man was very interested in this young man. No, this wasn't a young man from the human race, but a demon king. The young man came back to his senses because this person didn't have the aura of a human race. All he had was the aura of a powerful demon king. If you're interested in these sacred trees, I think we can cooperate. Out of the blue, the young man said, "Are you sure you want to cooperate with me? Aren't you afraid that I'll take advantage of you? After all, I can still kill all of you." The young man was usually quite arrogant, but at this moment he was a little afraid of the other party's strength. Even the Starlight God Tree's last attack didn't seem to have any effect on the other party. Clearly, this guy was quite strong. Lin Fei was quite surprised that the other party actually wanted to cooperate, especially since the other party didn't even know him. It was really rare to see such a person. "I see that you seem to be interested in these sacred trees. It just so happens that I know another place in the ancient tomb of the Sky King has a sacred tree, but it's of a higher grade. I wonder if you're interested?" Lin Fei wasn't very clear about this. He didn't expect the guy in front of him to know. It seemed like he had a lot of information. "You're quite smart to be able to guess it." "That's right. I'm really interested in these sacred trees." "Tell me what kind of sacred tree it is. If it doesn't have a name, I won't be interested." Lin Fei wouldn't be tempted just because of a sentence from the other party. No matter what, he had to listen. The Starlight God Tree is only ranked 82, but this sacred tree has a great origin. It's ranked 48, and it's called the Wind God Tree. Lin Fei had seen the mutant tree list, so he naturally remembered some of the sacred trees behind it. There was indeed a Wind God Tree. The fruits of the Wind God Tree were called Wind God fruits. After refining these Wind God fruits, one could naturally cultivate the Wind God treasure body. This was a Sky King treasure body that specialized in speed. The grade of this tree was indeed a lot higher than the previous Starlight God Tree. No wonder the other party proposed to cooperate. With just these people, they probably wouldn't be able to snatch these Wind God fruits. You're quite smart to know how to cooperate. Coincidentally, I've heard of the Wind God Tree before. We can indeed cooperate. The young man heaved a sigh of relief. He had an idea. This person was extremely strong, but he didn't seem to be interested in the fruits. Instead, he seemed to be interested in the sacred tree. If that was the case, everything would be easy. My name is Wu Hai. I hope we can cooperate happily. Wu Hai also reported his name. Lin Fei laughed. Demon King, Netherworld. Wu Hai had indeed never heard of this Demon King, Netherworld. The other party was indeed very strong, especially his physical strength. It was really very strong. Cooperating with such a person was indeed advantageous. Wu Hai was also prepared to take a gamble. If he could really obtain some wind god fruits, that would be the best. Even if they didn't cooperate, they might not be able to snatch the wind god fruits. But if they cooperated, the situation would be different. The probability would be much higher. Apex. Chapter 4576. The young man quickly got into the zone. Now that they had reached an agreement, they wouldn't waste any more time. They immediately brought Lin Fei to look for the wind god tree. Lin Fei didn't know much about the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King, but he felt that the information these foreign young masters had was very detailed. It was much more detailed than the information in the spiritual realm. No wonder they couldn't get anything good in the spiritual realm. They were all taken away by these foreign young masters. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When they arrived near the entrance of a small world, a gust of wind started blowing. When the wind came, it turned into a series of blades that slashed at them. Fortunately, they were all Peak Sage King experts. Once they activated their Great Tao defense, they were able to block it. When the continuous blade attacks came, they still felt a great deal of pressure. The wind god tree is inside. This is the wind god tree's way of fighting. Lin Fei had to admit that the wind god tree was indeed very powerful. It could even affect the surroundings. It left behind gusts of wind. This wind was extremely sharp and specialized in cutting through flesh. Without any defense, it was impossible to get close. The closer they got to the entrance of the small world, the stronger the power of the continuous blades, and the denser they became. Most importantly, as long as you didn't get close to the small world, you wouldn't be able to detect the existence of such a method. Lin Fei was very interested in the wind god tree. He had to take a look first. No wonder it was ranked so high. These methods couldn't stop them. They carefully approached the small world and dove in. Once inside, they found that it was far more dangerous inside than outside. One after another, storms swept over. Within the naked eye, there were at least 7 or 8 storms rotating back and forth. At the end of the small world, there was a towering tree. Wind blades attacked Lin Fei from all directions. Before they got close to Lin Fei, they saw the void around them collapse. They blasted the wind blades away. Lin Fei could vaguely see many figures fighting over something at the end of the small world. Obviously, they were a little late. We must hurry up. Otherwise, if they take away all the wind god fruits, our trip will be in vain. When Wu Hai saw the fight for the wind god fruit, he started to get anxious. It's fine. It's not too late yet. There's still a lot of wind god fruits hanging on the tree. Since we're here, they won't have a chance. Lin Fei could clearly see the wind god fruits hanging on the wall. There were many wind blades protecting these wind god fruits. If he wanted to pluck these wind god fruits, he would need some strength. Hearing that, Wu Hai became spirited. This time he had found a helper. With such an expert, obtaining the wind god fruit should be very easy. What powerful treasures do you have? Tell me about them first. We have to kill them all in one go. That way, we can harvest these wind god fruits. Lin Fei did not rush over. Instead, he asked about Wu Hai. Wu Hai's heart jolted. This guy couldn't be thinking of going all out, right? In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, I have a powerful talisman that can stop everything for 3 breaths of time. Only 3 breaths of time. Lin Fei laughed when he heard that. 3 breaths of time is enough. We can injure them severely and save a lot of time. Indeed, Lin Fei did not have many treasures on him. He did not care for these treasures. But now he realized that he should still bring some treasures with him. They could be used at critical moments. For example, it would be difficult to deal with these people in one go. But if he had treasures, it would be a different story. Wu Hai knew what to do. After all, the wind god fruit was still very valuable. It could definitely use this talisman. In any case, this guy did not want the wind god fruits. In the end, all the wind god fruits would belong to him. Where else could he find such a good deal? When we get close to them, I will use this talisman. Then, I will leave the rest to the Yellow Springs Demon King. Wu Hai might not be able to injure them in one go, but the Yellow Springs Demon King could do it. It was not easy to pass through here. These windstorms were very powerful. They could be said to be an overwhelming attack. If one could withstand it, one could live. If not, one would die immediately. It was very overbearing. Lin Fei's heavenly king body withstood the wind blades, so he could feel how powerful they were. As expected of the wind god tree, it had its own protection method. Not just anyone could come in. Even if one had a powerful defensive treasure, they would not be able to last long. The closer they got to the wind god tree, the more powerful the wind blades became. A few breaths of time could be unbearable. For example, Wu Hai was wearing a treasure armor, but it also consumed a lot of energy. They arrived near the wind god tree. After arriving here, the wind god tree's methods became more and more ferocious. The sage kings who were picking the wind god fruits were also very careful. They did not dare to make too much noise. Whoosh! The black mist floated toward them. Everywhere it passed, the void was directly corroded. It turned out that they did not welcome people to snatch the wind god fruits. Lin Fei could also clearly feel that with their arrival, the power of the wind god tree seemed to have increased a lot. It was quite an interesting tree. Void freeze! Wu Hai immediately took out the talisman. It turned into a golden stream of light and swept across the crowd. After Jingguang's sweep, the sage kings who were attacking stopped one by one and fell into a temporary state of stillness. Lin Fei also took out the sky destroyer bow at the first moment. He pulled the bow. They turned into dozens of streams of light and hit the bodies of these experts. The first arrow had injured these experts. Then the second round of attacks directly pierced through their bodies. After the third round of attacks, there was almost no one left standing. 3 breaths of time. Wu Hai knew that the Yellow Springs Demon King was extremely powerful, but he never expected him to be so powerful. He actually had a heavenly king weapon. In 3 breaths of time, he had seriously injured these sage kings. No one at the scene could stand their ground. From now on, this tree belongs to me. The wind god fruits on it belong to you. Lin Fei said to Wu Hai with a smile. Wu Hai felt like he was dreaming. He did not expect to get the wind god fruits so quickly. The injured peak sage kings were also seriously injured. Without a word, Wu Hai ordered the sage kings beside him to attack. Actually, even without the sage kings, they could not withstand the attacks of the wind god tree and were directly torn to pieces. Chapter 45:77. Just like that, Lin Fei stood near the wind god tree. Without the sage king experts, the wind god tree seemed to be much weaker. Lin Fei just stood there casually. The wind blades passed through him from both sides, not affecting him at all. Wu Hai did not stay idle either. He picked the wind god fruits with the sage king experts. If he wanted to pick the wind god fruits, he would need some time to break the spell. Lin Fei had no obligation to help them pick the wind god fruits. It was already good enough that he could help him deal with these sage king experts. After all, he had to guard against the other experts that came in. Wu Hai was truly relieved. It was not easy to use a void stop talisman. The effect was naturally good. After dealing with these sage king experts, he could finally pick the wind god fruits with peace of mind. Whether or not he could pick more wind god fruits depended on this Lin Fei. Wu Hai could naturally tell why the other party did not come to help him. He was simply helping them resolve their worries. When the wind god fruits were all picked, the Yellow Springs Goblin King would take the wind god tree away. With the previous example, Wu Hai knew what was going on. Without any hesitation, he quickly put away the wind god fruits. Who knew what kind of experts would come here? After all, there were about 20 to 30 young masters that came to the ancient tomb of the Heavenly King. They were all experts from the lesser worlds. Get out. This place is not for you. Lin Fei wielded the Heaven Destroyer bow. The moment someone entered, he attacked. As soon as those people entered, they encountered such a powerful technique. They were immediately scared witless, turned around and ran away. This was not the first or second time such a situation had happened. Yi Xian's long-range technique could definitely make them tremble in fear. Why would they have the mood to enter again? They were about to lose their lives. In this way, Lin Fei saved a lot of trouble. He did not even need to do much to chase them away. Ha 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 ha, looks like our luck is not bad. There is a wind god tree here. There should be wind god fruits here. We did not come here for nothing. Right at this moment, laughter came from outside. Wu Hai, who was picking the wind god fruits, had a slight change in expression. Yellow Springs Demon King, this is bad. The people I left outside have all been killed. It should be someone from another small world. You have to be careful. Naturally, Lin Fei also sensed that someone had arrived outside, and his strength was not weak. Just focus on picking the wind god fruits. I'll take care of the rest. No matter who came in, they couldn't stop Lin Fei's determination to take away the wind god tree. If it wasn't for the fact that Wu Hai wasn't bad, there wouldn't be any cooperation. An arrow light shot over. Just as the arrow was about to hit them, a huge shield rose up and blocked the power of the arrow. They surged towards both sides. Those people are fine hiding behind their shields. Everyone be careful. There's a long-range guy inside. He's pretty strong. The people on the other side reacted quite quickly. Following that, shields appeared one after another, and they charged towards Lin Fan. The shields emitted a faint glow, but they were extremely tough. Even the wind blades couldn't break the glow in a short time. At the same time, streams of light shot towards Lin Fei. It turned out that they had a long-range expert as well. His archery skills seemed to be quite outstanding. They kept appearing around Lin Fei. The void around Lin Fei had long collapsed, forming a fault. Any method that wanted to come over would have to pass through this collapsed void. This was a small trick that Lin Fei had figured out himself. After all, he had a strong body. With a single move, he could cause the void to collapse. However, he had always controlled the area of the collapse to be around 1 meter. 1 meter wasn't a large area, but it was very effective. So there's an archery expert here. I'll have to kill this guy first. As soon as he thought that, an arrow light appeared beside him. The arrow light hit Lin Fei's body, but it only left a faint mark. It didn't affect Lin Fei at all. However, it also let Lin Fei know that this long-range guy was also an archer, and he was quite strong. Although Lin Fei had the Sky Destroyer bow, his archery skills were indeed average. The guy in front of him seemed to be quite good at archery. It was a good opportunity for him to catch him and learn a few moves, so that his archery skills would become more powerful. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Another 9 arrow lights appeared around Lin Fei, instantly erupting with terrifying power. The 9 arrows seemed to have attraction. With Lin Fei as the center, a terrifying power erupted in an instant, and it was amplified. The power was actually increased by more than 10 times. This guy doesn't know what's good for him. He actually dares to go against us sharpshooters. I guess he's stunned. Old Sure, your 9 stars chasing the moon is really good. This guy is probably a rogue cultivator. How could he have seen 9 stars chasing the moon? The guy called Old Sure was wearing a black robe and holding a big bow in his hand. He was the one who launched the long-range attack. Just now, the 9 stars chasing the moon was his doing. Not everyone can withstand my 9 stars chasing the moon. This guy dares to go against me. He really doesn't know what's good for him. This guy was very proud of himself. He was most proficient in long-range attacks. He was very popular in any team. This was because a long-range archer could let you feel the aura of danger at all times. For example, although he was shocked by the opponent's power at the beginning, such crude archery skills were even more disdainful in his eyes. Your archery skills are really good. 9 stars chasing the moon increases the power. It's a pity that you met someone you shouldn't have offended. I can only say that you're unlucky. A voice appeared in the ears of the black-robed man. Then, a hand reached out and pierced through his chest. All of his energy had been completely plundered. The ring on his hand was quickly taken away, and so was the big bow. The expressions of those young masters, who were feeling proud of themselves, suddenly changed. They didn't notice how the opponent moved at all. However, Old Sher, who was good at long-range attacks in their team, was killed without a sound. He didn't even have the strength to struggle. This made them feel the aura of danger. Thank you for sending me a gift, so I'll send you a gift too. I'm sure you'll like it. Lin Fei laughed, and the surrounding void collapsed in an instant. Now Lin Fei's strength could cause the void to collapse in an instant. Moreover, these people were not far away from him. Everyone was struck by the power of the void. Following that, the heaven's extermination, Bao shot out beams of light, killing all of them. From the beginning to the end, it was so easy. Top. Chapter 4578. Among these people, the most powerful one was the long-range archer. As for the others, their strength was only so-so in Lin Fei's opinion. He heaved a sigh of relief and continued picking the wind god fruits. Lin Fei took out the archer's ring. He wanted to see what this fellow had brought with him. After all, his archery skills were quite powerful. Lin Fei was good at many things, but his archery skills were just so-so. Even though the Sky Destroyer bow was in his hands, it wasn't very powerful. This was something that couldn't be helped. If he had good archery skills, he would be able to increase the power of the heaven exterminating bow. Lin Fei planned to take a look inside the ring to see if there was anything good in there. If he was lucky, he might be able to find it. Even though Lin Fei was capable of creating powerful archery skills himself, that required time. For Lin Fei, the heaven exterminating bow wouldn't take too long. The archer's ring didn't contain many valuable items. Just as Lin Fei had expected, the archer indeed had some archery skills. However, they were all so-so and not worthy of his attention. Lin Fei felt that it was quite a pity. Since he was bored, he took out the other rings. Apart from spirit stones and cultivation methods, there were all sorts of items inside. In the last ring, however, Lin Fei found something interesting. I didn't expect this fellow to have an archery skill as well. It looks like it's quite good. In the last ring, Lin Fei found something. It turned out to be an archery skill. Compared to the archer's skill, this skill was obviously much better. However, it was still an incomplete skill. It was quite surprising. Space arrow skill. When he saw these words, Lin Fei's eyes lit up. There was only one archery technique in this incomplete technique. This archery technique made Lin Fei realize that this archery technique was suitable for him. I didn't expect this guy to have such an archery skill. No wonder he kept it in his storage ring. This kind of archery skill is not something that just anyone can cultivate. It's like God has given me a gift. Lin Fei couldn't help but laugh. Wu Hai, who was picking the wind god fruits, was also dumbfounded when he saw the scene. He didn't know why the Yellow Springs Demon King was smiling, but he must have gotten something he was satisfied with. It was better for him to pick this wind god fruit. Lin Fei himself had cultivated the space law before. Naturally, he knew that the Tao of space was broad and profound. It was very powerful. He didn't expect that there would be someone who could fuse space and archery together. It was indeed very powerful. This kind of archery was untraceable, and it was indeed extremely ferocious. Lin Fei studied it for a bit and mastered the spatial arrow technique. He had already cultivated a small part of the spatial laws. Although it was mostly used for movement techniques, it didn't seem too difficult for him to use it for archery. Lin Fei had cultivated in the past, so he knew that mastering one technique was the same as mastering all techniques. He just didn't think about it normally. The one who created the spatial arrow technique should be an expert in the space law. He might even be a long-range spatial archer. Lin Fei drew the bow. The spatial arrow technique was unleashed. Compared to the previous archery technique, it was truly untraceable. Hitting the bulls, I directly saved him a lot of time. There was no sound, no movement. It was extremely powerful. Lin Fei was quite satisfied with this spatial arrow technique. This spatial arrow technique was extremely powerful, but it also consumed a lot of energy. If Lin Fei didn't have the divine tree of life, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. A spatial arrow technique consumed 30% of his energy. It wasn't something anyone could display. 3 to 5 arrows would completely cripple him. Lin Fei returned to his original position. Wu Hai and the others moved much faster. The wind god fruits were picked one by one. It seemed that before long, all the wind god fruits on the wind god tree would be picked clean. Although some young masters came in during this period, they weren't very powerful. Lin Fei easily drove them away. Lin Fei thought that no more experts would come in. However, in the next second, a few figures barged in. The moment these figures barged in, they gave off a strong pressure. Young Master Yi, we found a wind god fruit here. We're quite lucky. The moment these people entered, they immediately locked onto the wind god tree. Wu Hai, who was picking the wind god fruits, frowned when he heard the name Young Master Yi. He turned around and saw a figure in black. When he saw the figure in black, he sucked in a breath of cold air and his face turned pale. Demon King Netherworld, oh no, that guy is here. It'll be difficult for us to get the wind god fruit and wind god tree. Wu Hai, who had been beaming with joy, was now pale as if he hadn't seen the sun for a whole year. He was even trembling. Needless to say, Lin Fei could also feel the aura of a heavenly king from this person. At this time, a heavenly king actually came in. It seemed like this heavenly king had a powerful background. Wu Hai's body was trembling from head to toe. This trembling came from the bottom of his heart. In other words, these people had a powerful background. Do they have a powerful background? Wu Hai swallowed. Very, very powerful. They're from a mid-level small world. Lin Fei finally understood why Wu Hai had such a big reaction. So they were from a mid-level small world. No wonder. They indeed had that kind of deterrence. These people were all at the Heavenly King realm. So it's Wu Hai from the Heavenly Fire sect. You're quite lucky to even run into a wind god tree. You should know what to do, right? A voice that was neither loud nor light floated over. Only then did Lin Fei notice that this black-clothed young master was glowing with divine light. He was completely different from the other young masters, exuding a mysterious aura, as expected of someone from a mid-level small world. Wu Hai had finally run into a wind god tree and plucked the wind god fruit without anyone competing with him. In the end, such a master came. If you asked him to hand over this thing, he would be a little reluctant to do so. But if he didn't, a mid-level small world would definitely make him suffer, not to mention getting out of here alive. This young master was called Young Master Yewe. He was a top-notch genius from a mid-level small world. Wu Hai was well informed. He naturally knew which mid-level small worlds had people he couldn't afford to offend. Among them, Young Master Yewe was someone he couldn't afford to offend. Young Master Yewe, I've just arrived and haven't plucked many wind god fruits. Why don't we just forget about it? I'll leave now. Wu Hai didn't dare to make an enemy out of him. He could only be a coward. Disobedient guy, clear the field. Peek. Chapter 4579. As soon as the black-clothed man gave the order, the 3 figures behind him moved in an instant. directly breaking through the void and appearing in front of them. They were so fast that no one could react. They appeared just like that. For example, a figure appeared in front of Wu Hai. With a slash, the saber light was like flowing water, breaking through Wu Hai's great Dao defense. Wu Hai was sent flying, crashing heavily into the wind god tree. In the blink of an eye, he was attacked by countless wind blades. In the blink of an eye, Wu Hai was beaten beyond recognition. As for the remaining Sage Kings, they were no match for a heavenly king and were directly killed. They couldn't even withstand a single slash. Lin Fei was also attacked by a heavenly king powerhouse. However, when the opponent's slash came, Lin Fei used the demon god escape technique and floated far away. He reached out and pulled Wu Hai to the side. This guy's slash just now had made him vomit blood. It was not easy to survive against a heavenly king powerhouse. The heavenly king powerhouse was a little surprised that his slash missed. Once again, he broke through the void and appeared in front of Lin Fei. Another slash came, but Lin Fei managed to widen the distance between them again. He dodged again. Lin Fei hadn't met many heavenly kings who could fight in close combat like this, but the heavenly king powerhouse in front of him was very strong. His saber technique was outstanding, and he could easily kill a peak sage king. Even a half-step heavenly king would not be able to withstand his attack. The opponent's weapon was also a heavenly king level weapon, incomparably sharp. It was a divine weapon. Demon King Yellow Springs, let's go. They're too strong. We can't beat them at all. Wu Hai was already trembling in fear. The opponent was too strong. 3 subordinates had already caused them to suffer heavy losses. For example, now, only Wu Hai and Demon King Yellow Springs were left. If Demon King Yellow Springs hadn't helped him, he would have been killed long ago. He wouldn't have been able to breathe. After failing to take them down twice in a row, the opponent, the Heavenly King Powerhouse, was also a little angry. With his movement technique improved, his saber technique became even more outstanding. Streaks of saber techniques slashed over. It ignored the existence of the void and directly appeared around Lin Fei. It was extremely domineering. Do you really think that I'll be afraid of you just because I won't retaliate? The wind god tree is something that I've taken a fancy to, so it naturally belongs to me. If you want to take it from me, that will depend on whether you have the strength to do so. Lin Fei snorted coldly. He was enraged. Once again, he widened the distance between them, even faster than the other party. After pulling the string, he took out the sky extermination bow and unleashed a spatial arrow technique. There were no traces to follow. The Heavenly King Stage Powerhouse's body was constantly moving. His brow furrowed as he sensed danger, and in the blink of an eye he was struck. He fell from the sky and became a pile of mud. Lin Fei had killed a Heavenly King Stage Powerhouse with a single sword strike. This was also because the other party had not been able to guard against Lin Fei's strength. Moreover, the power of the spatial arrow technique was also extremely strong. It was not easy to withstand. The other 2 Heavenly King Stage Powerhouses also attacked, one on the left and the other on the right. They even unleashed their own domains. Once their domains were unleashed, it was indeed quite powerful. However, Lin Fei was very calm. With the sky extermination bow in hand, he unleashed spatial arrow technique after spatial arrow technique. The 2 Heavenly King Stage Powerhouses blocked several attacks, but they could not keep up with the inconceivable power of spatial rules. In the blink of an eye, they were killed. As soon as the 3 Heavenly Kings died, young Master Yehua's expression changed slightly. I didn't expect there to be such a powerful guy like you. You're quite powerful to be able to kill 3 of my Heavenly Kings. Wu Hai was a little dumbfounded at this moment. Wasn't this Yellow Springs Demon King a little too powerful? The 3 Heavenly Kings had killed without hesitation, and their archery techniques seemed to have become even more powerful. There was no trace of them at all. This was too terrifying. This is just a small trick. I wonder if young Master Yue plans to give it a try. If you do, I'll be more than happy to fulfill your wish. Yue had seen all kinds of experts, but this was the first time he had seen such a long-range archer. He could see that the other party's archery technique actually contained spatial rules. It was unimaginable and extremely difficult to block. This was also why the other party could kill his 3 subordinates, who were heavenly kings at that. The important thing was that they were in a small place like this. No one would believe it if word got out. You're quite powerful, and your archery is so outstanding. You're a talent. It's indeed a little unfair for you to stay in such a small place. If you're willing to follow me, I can guarantee you a bright future. Yue was not in a hurry to attack. Instead, he spoke with a smile. An expert like this was too rare. If he could recruit him, he would be a great fighting force. Lin Fei did not know whether to laugh or cry. Yue actually wanted to recruit him. She was indeed someone from a big place. Her breadth of mind was a little different. She did not feel the slightest bit of heartache over the death of 3 heavenly kings. Lin Fei was even more interested in middle-grade small worlds. It was a pity that he did not understand the concept of small worlds after coming to the ancient tomb of the heavenly king. However, he could guess. A small place like the spiritual realm should be a small world, commonly known as a low-grade world. Above the low-grade world was a middle-grade small world. There was no doubt that this young Master Yi came from a middle-grade small world. He had seen many of them. I'm sorry, I don't want to work for others. You're destined to be disappointed. Lin Fei smiled and refused. What a joke. How could he be someone's subordinate? Yue was not surprised at all. He was a little worried that such a person could be recruited. A melon that is forcibly picked won't be sweet. Forget it. However, you killed 3 of my subordinates. I have to show you how powerful I am. As soon as Yue's words fell, a few dangerous auras appeared. It turned out that Lin Fei made the first move. When dealing with such a person, he had to suppress him first. When Lin Fei's technique got close to the other party, a divine light surged out. Divine light gushed out from the other party's surroundings. This divine light was like a domain. As soon as Lin Fei's technique got close, it was forced out. He could no longer get close. I know that your archery contains the rules of space. However, you actually dare to stand here. I'm not afraid of your spatial archery. Are you surprised? Lin Fei shot a total of 8 arrows. However, these 8 arrows were forced out by the other party. They could not get close to the other party at all. They were forcibly blocked. Lin Fei was not surprised that the other party had managed to block his attack. Otherwise, why would he say that he was an expert from a middle-grade small world? A proud son of heaven should have some ability. If this is all you have, then I'm sorry. You are not qualified to be my enemy. Chapter 4580. Lin Fei was not surprised that the other party had reached such a level of strength. Those divine lights were indeed extraordinary. It was no wonder that they could block the might of his arrows. If the people from a mid-ranked small world were so mediocre, it wouldn't be appropriate. At the very least, this group of people was much stronger than the previous ones. If you think that I'm not strong enough, why don't you give it a try? Let me see how powerful you are. Otherwise, I'd advise you not to target the wind god tree. Lin Fei chuckled. Young Master Yi, you snorted coldly. The other party's arrows were indeed powerful. However, in his eyes, the power of the arrows was only SOSO. His divine lights had easily blocked the arrows. Since you want to see how powerful I am, I'll show you now. I hope you won't regret it when the time comes, because there's no medicine for regret in this world. Yu formed a seal with both hands, and the area where Lin Fei was instantly emitted rays of divine lights. These rays of divine lights shot up into the sky without any warning. The power of the divine lights was also extremely powerful and had a strong penetrative ability. A ray of divine light directly appeared below Lin Fei. He blocked it with both hands, and the divine light hit his palms. In an instant, it turned into a spiraling force that was about to drill through Lin Fei's palms like a drill. Such a change happened in an instant. It was indeed very powerful. Layers of power appeared on Lin Fei's hands and disintegrated the attack of the divine lights. The divine lights were densely packed and innumerable. In an instant, the area where Lin Fei was enveloped. Wu Hai didn't dare to make a sound. In the distance, Wu Hai didn't even dare to make a sound. Every single one of these densely packed divine lights was filled with the aura of death, making it unbearable for him. Whoosh! Whoosh! Countless spatial arrows flew out from the divine lights and headed straight for Yi Yu. It turned out that Lin Fei had made his move. He directly used the spatial arrows. The power of the arrows was even stronger than before. He had directly used his full strength. Divine light appeared around Yi Yu's body again. He didn't take this spatial arrow technique seriously at all. It contained traces of the laws of space, but its power was limited. I really don't know how this guy still has the nerve to make a move. He had clearly seen through the spatial arrow technique, yet he still had the cheek to make a move. However, just as this thought appeared in his mind, a spatial arrow technique pierced through the divine light and pierced through half of his body. Cracks instantly appeared on the place where he was originally injured. "Kid, you actually hid your strength." Yi Yu lowered her head and looked at her wound. She couldn't believe that she was actually injured. The other party had clearly been enveloped by his divine light and was probably in the process of resisting. Who would have thought that he would be able to counterattack? Not only that, his strength would be so strong. He had actually gone all out, and he was even stronger than before. Yi Yu was quite annoyed that she had caught him off guard. Divine light strangle. The dense divine light instantly turned into a huge vortex. As the vortex spun, the void cracked and the barrier of the world could almost be seen. It turned out that at this moment, the technique of the godlight had changed once again. Its power had skyrocketed, causing the void to distort. Streams of energy bypassed Lin Fei's body. Yi Xian's body would be left with a white mark every time it circled around. But that was not the most dreadful thing. The most frightening thing was that every time the attack landed on White Scar again, it was still in the same position. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fei had suffered dozens of attacks, and each attack was quite terrifying. These forces continued to stack, and finally, a bloody wound appeared on his body. Lin Fei wasn't surprised that his physical body was broken by the other party's means. The sky extermination bow in his hand was also firing continuously. Streak after streak of arrow light flew over. Yi Yu had also fallen into the trap. He felt a headache coming on. Lin Fei had to deal with the divine light's whirlpool strangulation, while Night Moon had to deal with the spatial arrow technique. However, the spatial arrow technique had no rules. It was impossible to defend against it. It could come from the left or the right. When the first two arrows were fired, the third arrow would be fired from another position. For a moment, Yi Yu was in a sorry state. No matter how powerful he was and how he was covered in divine light, he still couldn't deal with the unpredictable arrows. "I've experienced your divine light's means. It's really powerful, but I wonder how good my arrows are." Lin Fei burst out laughing. Night Moon's face was a little gloomy. He kept blasting away those arrow lights, but there would be new ones every time. There were so many of them, and they were so powerful that they didn't affect him at all. Night Moon knew he had run into a tough opponent, especially when his opponent was at a distance. "You are really good. No wonder you are confident that you can take the Wind God tree here. But it won't be so easy for you to run into me." Night Moon didn't think it was a big deal at first, but now he felt he had to do something. He had to kill this eyesore first. Whoosh! An invisible force shot over. When this force shot over, Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He immediately caught a trace of it. It was a dagger, but it was too fast. When he caught it, it was already in front of him. Layers of sword intent appeared around Lin Fei, but these sword intent methods were instantly penetrated by the dagger. It didn't stop and directly pierced through his body. A bloody wound appeared. After the dagger pierced through Lin Fei's body started to crack. The cracks grew more and more. Even if Lin Fei wanted to heal the wound, he couldn't do it immediately. He knew that this dagger must be a very terrifying treasure, as expected of someone who forced me to use the blade of Nirvana. Night Moon heaved a sigh of relief after the dagger pierced through Lin Fei's body. He was really afraid that Lin Fei's body was strong and invincible. Now it seemed that his blade of Nirvana was more powerful. It consumed a lot of energy, but the gains were still acceptable. I wonder how many times you can block my attacks. Under such circumstances, Yi Yu would rarely use this dagger, the Blade of Silence. It consumed too much energy, and he couldn't bear it at all. He had no other choice. He couldn't suppress this guy's long-range attacks at all. Even Lin Fei's body was strong. He could only use his trump card. Fortunately, his trump card didn't let him down. He had finally broken Lin Fei's body. If there were another 7 or 8 wounds like this, Lin Fei's body wouldn't be able to take it. Lin Fei looked down at the wound. He wasn't surprised at all. He had finally met his match. Chapter 4581. There was a big difference between a low-level small world and a mid-level small world. At the very least, Lin Fei felt that this guy called Yi Yu was quite difficult to deal with. His spatial arrow technique had indeed affected the other party quite a bit, and it had also damaged his physical body. However, Yi Yu's silence blade was also very powerful and hard to defend against. In comparison, neither of them had any chance of winning. In the blink of an eye, they had been fighting for an hour. Neither of them had any advantage, and it was hard to tell who would win. Anyway, both of them were injured and looked very embarrassed. Whoosh! Lin Fei shot another arrow, but this time it hit the silence blade directly. The Nirvana blade was sent flying a great distance away. Activating the devil escape technique, Lin Fei's figure disappeared and a palm print appeared in front of Yi Yu's body. The light in front of Yi Yu was dazzling, but it couldn't withstand Lin Fei's palm and shattered. Then a palm print appeared on Yi Yu's body. There was a loud bang. Yi Yu was sent flying. Countless rays of divine light gathered together in midair, forming a barrier that blocked Yi Yu's path and dissipated the power within. 5 fingers like a mountain suppress. Before Yi Yu could even catch her breath, another palm appeared. This palm hit Yi Yu's head. The void collapsed, and Yi Yu was sent flying again. This time, even the divine light was instantly shattered. Streaks of flowing light rushed over and engulfed Yi Yu. It turned out that Lin Fei had finally seized the opportunity to attack. The effect of the counterattack was very obvious. At least, Yi Yu suffered a big loss. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Several streams of light hit the silence blade. Yi Yu, who was about to control the silence blade, didn't have time to do so and was interrupted by a huge force. Lin Fei definitely wouldn't let him control the silence blade. The power of the silence blade wasn't as strong as it was at the beginning, but it still made Lin Fei a little afraid. He had to cut off the connection first. With this, Yi Yu instantly lost her advantage. This Nirvana saber was indeed powerful, but it consumed a lot of energy. He never thought that this kid would see through it and take advantage of this opportunity to counterattack. Suppressing his advantage, he immediately fell into a dangerous situation. Whoosh! Streaks of arrow light covered the sky as they flew over. Even though his divine light was blocking in front of him, he still could not withstand it. He was hit several times in a row. Every time he was hit, his body would crack open with wounds. More and more cracks appeared on her body, covering her entire body. Yi knew that if she were to take a few more hits, these cracks would link together and her body would collapse. At that time, he would definitely die. This brat was really ruthless. He could even use such a chain of moves. Kid, you're good. I don't want the wind god tree anymore, but I'll remember you. A faint light enveloped Night Moon, and she instantly rushed into the world's barrier. The Nirvana saber also followed. Lin Fei originally wanted to block the saber on the ground, but he was too late. Just like that, he watched Night Moon leave the small world. After Night Moon left, Lin Fei breathed a sigh of relief. It was really difficult to fight against such a person. The opponent's Nirvana saber gave him a lot of pressure. Even his half-step Heavenly King body was broken by the opponent. Every move had a great impact on his body. Fortunately, the opponent only had one Nirvana saber. If he could control 18 Nirvana sabers in one go, the half-step Heavenly King body would be completely useless. Wu Hai breathed a sigh of relief. He thought he was really done for this time. Night Moon was a genius from a mid-level small world. When she used the Nirvana saber, his soul almost flew out of his body. Fortunately, the Yellow Springs Demon King finally drove Yu away and launched a great counterattack. Demon King, Netherworld, you're too powerful. Even Night Moon was defeated by you. Now no one will come again. Wu Hai hurriedly flattered Demon King, Netherworld. Hurry up and pick your wind god fruit. Otherwise, if another expert comes, you won't be so lucky. Looking at the Saint Ruler expert that had been killed, Wu Hai laughed bitterly. He could only do it himself, so his movements naturally slowed down. Helpless, he could only seek Demon King Netherworld's help. He really couldn't do it alone. Lin Fei also knew that it would be too slow for Wu Hai to pick the wind god fruit alone. He could only help to pick the wind god fruit. Picking the wind god fruit was much more violent than Wu Hai. Streaks of light shot out and knocked the wind god fruit down. The wind god fruit that was knocked down was well preserved and not damaged. This made Wu Hai heave a sigh of relief. He hurriedly collected the wind god fruits. One attacked while the other collected. They cooperated very well. It didn't take long for Wu Hai to collect all the wind god fruits. His face was full of smiles. He finally heaved a sigh of relief. All the wind god fruits had been picked. When all the wind god fruits had been picked, it was finally Lin Fei's turn. He had been thinking about the wind god tree all the time. He had almost lost the wind god tree. Lin Fei didn't want any more accidents to happen. Therefore, he started collecting the wind god tree at once. He met with some resistance, but how could he resist the tree of life? He was forcefully pulled in. Wu Hai had also personally witnessed the scene of the wind god tree being absorbed into his body. He was truly filled with shock. This was completely different from what he had expected. Only then did Wu Hai realize that he had been wrong. So Demon King Netherworld was actually so capable. No wonder he kept his eyes on the wind god tree. He was even willing to offend a mid-level small world expert like Yu. Lin Fei finally collected the wind god tree and heaved a sigh of relief. The rest would depend on luck. Our cooperation is complete. Let's go our separate ways before anyone comes. Otherwise, we won't be able to leave even if we want to. Lin Fei had wanted to learn more about the secret of the small world, but now it seemed like he didn't need to. I should recover from my injuries first. After saying that, he used the demon god escape technique and disappeared without a trace. Wu Hai was about to say something when he realized that the other party had disappeared. He didn't know when the other party had left. There was no trace of him at all. He smiled bitterly. I have to go too. Let's go back first. Yu isn't easy to deal with when she goes crazy. I hope Demon King Netherworld can fend off her revenge. Apex. Chapter 4582. Lin Fei left after taking the wind god tree. He didn't dare to stay at his original place. He took the opportunity to find another small world. After all, this was the tomb of the ancient king. There were 32 miniature worlds here. Some of them had already been plundered by others, so there wasn't much danger and no one would go there. At this time, Lin Fei had one more thing to do. He had to let the Tree of Life absorb and refine the Wind God Tree. This required a process and a period of time. Therefore, he had to find a miniature world to deal with this first. Fortunately, the miniature world Lin Fei found was quite safe. No one came in. He found a random palace and went in. After setting up a trap, he allowed the Tree of Life to refine the Wind God Tree. The Wind God Tree resisted. But how could it resist the power of the Tree of Life? It was constantly disintegrated and refined over and over again. There should be a lot of good stuff in the tomb. But I have to go find the strongest miniature world. It's a pity I didn't ask Wu Hai just now. He might know. Lin Fei felt that it was a bit of a pity. Fortunately, there were quite a few outsiders from the small worlds this time. When the time came, he could capture one of them and ask them about it. If a miniature world like this could have something like the Wind God Tree, then what about the strongest miniature world? There should be quite a lot of good stuff there. Lin Fei felt he was a bit slow. If he had known this would happen, he would have gone to the strongest miniature world from the start. The tomb of the ancient king was more extraordinary than he had imagined. No wonder people from other miniature worlds would come here. But that night moon was quite strong, especially that Nirvana saber. It was really hard to defend against and caused great damage to the body. Fortunately, he had finally chased that night moon away. It was a pity he didn't manage to snatch the Nirvana saber. This kind of treasure that specialized in destroying the body was quite useful to him. Lin Fei waited for 3 days. The Tree of Life finally absorbed and refined the Wind God Tree. The Tree of Life also grew and improved greatly. What made Lin Fei the happiest was that after the Tree of Life grew, it left behind a ball of green light. This ball of green light exuded a familiar aura. Lin Fei figured it out. This should be the essence left behind by the Wind God Tree. He hadn't forgotten how powerful the Wind God Tree was. Back then, the Wind God Tree had set up almost all sorts of traps in the small world. Those who weren't strong wouldn't be able to barge in. Even now, Lin Fei had not forgotten that the Tree of Life had been preserved. This was a good thing. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and grabbed the cyan ball of light. Then he swallowed it and started refining it. The entire process was as smooth as flowing water. After that, wind blades appeared around Lin Fei. These cyan wind blades were constantly swimming around. They were incomparably sharp and kept cutting the void. This was the essence of the Wind God Tree. Now that it had been completely grasped by Lin Fei, it was equivalent to having a trump card. After some experimentation, Lin Fei also understood that the cyan wind blades were more powerful the closer they were to each other. They could easily kill a peak sage king. The area that Lin Fei could control now was very small. It was only 1 kilometer or 2 around him, but its power was still very strong. These wind blades were also constantly condensing, becoming extremely sturdy and sharp. Although they weren't as good as Yi Yu's blade of Nirvana, they were still quite powerful. At least, it gave Lin Fei another powerful trump card. After completely grasping it, Lin Fei came out of this small world. He had to find the strongest small world. If he didn't go now, it would probably be too late. He had to go take a look no matter what and see if there were any good things left behind. After coming out, Lin Fei tried to sense it. He didn't sense any strong small world. Clearly, no one had opened the small world and there were no fluctuations left behind. Then, the only thing Lin Fei could do was to slowly search for it. 32 small worlds still needed some time. So, Lin Fei was wondering if he should capture a foreign expert. A foreign expert would definitely know some secrets, just like Yiyu. Lin Fei simply wandered around. After all, there were many people like him who were alone. So he was quickly targeted. These people thought that Lin Fei was an independent cultivator. Naturally, they didn't have any misgivings and captured him as cannon fodder. This was exactly what Lin Fei wanted. As soon as these people got close to him, Those traceless wind blades instantly appeared, turning into an overwhelming attack. They were instantly killed, and only one was left. The one who was left was a Peak Sage King expert. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He begged for mercy, repeatedly. "Don't kill me, don't kill me. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything." This foreign young master didn't know that this fellow who looked like an independent cultivator was actually hiding his strength. From a little sheep, he had transformed into a tiger, catching them off guard. If they knew that Lin Yin was so powerful, they wouldn't have made a move. "I'll ask and you'll answer. Otherwise, I'll search your memories. At that time, your fate will be even more miserable." Actually, Lin Fei could also search the other party's soul, but that would be troublesome, so he might as well let the other party speak. I'll speak. I'll tell you everything." The young master's forehead was covered in cold sweat. How could he dare to think about anything else? His priority was to survive. "You should be from a low-level small world, right?" "I'm from a low-level small world, the Azure Sun Realm." Lin Fei didn't ask many questions, but they were all related. How could this young master from the Azure Sun Realm think so much? He answered every question, but he was also afraid that the other party would suspect that he didn't answer correctly. Instead, he spoke in great detail. After asking 10 odd questions, Lin Fei had a better understanding of the outside world. The great 1,000 worlds in the outside world were divided into low-level, mid-level, high-level, and peak level. For example, the spiritual world was a low-level small world, and it was the most inconspicuous one. Lin Fei's spiritual world was located in the Tianhe Zone, which had a total of thousands of small worlds. It was no wonder that these people would come to a small place like the spiritual world. Then, do you know which small world is the strongest in the ancient king's tomb? Don't tell me you don't know. After understanding everything, Lin Fei asked the most important question. I know. The strongest small world is called the Ancient Cloud Small World." Lin Fei had never heard of the Ancient Cloud Small World before. He believed that the fellow before him wouldn't lie to him. He didn't have the guts. Lin Fei knocked the brat out with a palm and threw him into a small world. Peak. Chapter 4583. Lin Fei heaved a sigh of relief when he found out about the existence of the Ancient Cloud Small World. It was really the same as what he had imagined. There was indeed the strongest small world here. However, for some unknown reason, they did not go over. This had nothing to do with Lin Fei. He only needed to know about the existence of such a small world. He would know the rest when he went over. When Lin Fei went over, he realized that he seemed to have thought too highly of himself. He had not reached that area yet. A series of ripples whizzed past them. These ripples were formed by lightning. They were like long ropes that were very strong and exuded a destructive aura. If one was not careful and was hit by these ripples, they would be injured. Lin Fei activated wind blades around him. When these wind blades collided with the ripples, a loud sound was heard. This test also made Lin Fei realize that these ripples were very strong. They were indeed formed by lightning. It was obvious that the ancient cloud heavenly king should be a guy who cultivated the great path of lightning. The power of the lightning was very penetrative. Fortunately, Lin Fei's wind blades were not to be trifled with. He was able to intercept them every time. It was just that they were slow. Fortunately, Lin Fei finally reached this area. The deeper he went, the more lightning there was. They kept swimming around, especially after Lin Fei came in. They all rushed towards him. There were lightning in all directions. It was no wonder that some people did not dare to enter. Before the lightning arrived, the power of the lightning would permeate and affect the physical body. Unknowingly, one would be hit. The entrance should be here. Since it is surrounded by lightning, it will not be easy to find it. Lin Fei had not been to this place before. However, all he could see were flashes of lightning. These lightning were different from the lightning he was used to. They were all golden. Lin Fei also knew that the more different the color of the lightning, the more powerful it was. It made sense that it could be called the strongest small world in the tomb. Lin Fei turned into a stream of light the moment he activated the demon god escape technique. He dodged the lightning bolts and rushed into the small world. During this time, some lightning landed on Lin Fei's body, but they were quickly deflected. With Lin Fei's current physical body, he was indeed able to do so. As soon as he entered, thick bolts of lightning descended. Above Lin Fei, numerous wind blades gathered together to form a blockade. Following that, Lin Fei used demon divinity evasion to evade the attack. Wow, this place is actually a small world of lightning. How strong is this ancient cloud, Heavenly King? Even I feel a sense of apprehension. Mighty lightning covered the sky. The deeper he went, the darker the color of the lightning. Especially in the center, it had been replaced by golden lightning. Lin Fei also felt a bit of pressure. Even his half-step Heavenly King physical body was constantly being penetrated by the power of the lightning. It was no wonder that ordinary people did not dare to come. Before they even got close to the periphery, they would probably be killed by the lightning. After Lin Fei walked around, he confirmed one thing. The central area of this small world should be the place that was enveloped by the golden lightning. There, Lin Fei could vaguely see a palace, protected by a large area of golden lightning. He decided to go over and take a look. The demon escape was a little difficult to use here. It was affected to a certain extent, and the power of the lightning continued to penetrate. Lin Fei was not in a hurry. He would not be able to eat hot tofu if he was anxious. It was better to take it step by step. The sky full of wind blades landed nearby, forming a blockade. When the power of the lightning seeped in, the wind blades would meet it, constantly breaking the power of the lightning. Lin Fei also walked over slowly. Although some of the power of the lightning seeped in, it did not threaten Lin Fei's physical body at all. When he approached the center, the golden lightning began to penetrate again, and its power was a lot stronger. Lin Fei did not dare to let his guard down. With such a strong power of lightning, this ancient cloud, Heavenly King, was really something. From start to finish, it took about half an hour. Lin Fei finally made it through the golden lightning area. He had paid a huge price, and he had used up a lot of his life energy to recover from his injuries. It turned out that the power of the golden lightning was really strong. Once it came into contact with the physical body, it could split it. This was the strongest lightning that Lin Fei had ever seen. After making it through the golden lightning area, a palace appeared in front of Lin Fei. There were a few people guarding the entrance of the palace. They were chatting when they suddenly saw Lin Fei. Their expressions turned cold, and two people charged over. This is not a place you can come to. The two of them cooperated very well, one in front and one at the back. Lin Fei knew that there would definitely be people guarding a place like this. Indeed, it was just as he had guessed. He did not say much to them, and the moment the wind blades appeared, they were instantly cut into pieces. They were just two puny Sage Kings. In a place like this, leaving two puny Sage Kings was enough. Those who could make it through the golden lightning area would have to pay a heavy price. At that time, their strength would be greatly reduced, and they would not be a match for two Sage King experts. Unfortunately, they had encountered Lin Fei this time, and they had been killed in an instant. Lin Fei also felt that the wind blades were getting more and more useful. Especially at a distance, its power was great, and it specialized in penetrating the physical body. Moreover, it was a group attack, and it was impossible to defend against it. After killing the two Sage Kings, Lin Fei rushed into the palace. The inside of the palace was like a paradise. This place is not bad. I did not expect this Heavenly King Guyin to be someone who knows how to enjoy life. Lin Fei also sensed that there were many people in this palace, and they were all distributed in every corner of the palace. Sigh, I am still too late. Someone has already beaten me to it. I wonder if there is anything left behind. Lin Fei sighed. After sensing for a while, he headed towards the place with the most people. He believed that there should be something there. There were palaces of all sizes in this palace. Lin Fei did not go to these small palaces, as there would not be anything good in them. He might as well go straight to the largest palace. At the entrance of the palace, Lin Fei finally saw that there were many people gathered here. There were about 20 people, and they were all experts. When Lin Fei came over, more than 20 people turned to look at him. What are the people outside doing? Someone actually barged in, and he is a loose cultivator. Some people were unhappy when they saw Lin Fei enter. So what if he is a loose cultivator? Could it be that this place belongs to you? Lin Fei laughed. Chapter 4584. When these people saw that Lin Fei was an ordinary person and had come in alone, their gazes became unfriendly. It should be known that they were able to barge in because everyone had contributed. The power of the golden lightning outside was not small, and it was far from easy to withstand. Now that this guy had come in like this and looked safe and sound, it naturally made them a little unhappy. What a big tone! After a cold snort, a figure quickly approached, and the sky full of saber light shrouded in front of Lin Fei. It turned out that a Sage King expert had made a move. This Sage King expert could be considered a smart person. No matter how this person in front of him came in, he must have paid a great price. Maybe he was here to put on an act, and he should kill him first. He could still gain something. As for the other Sage King experts who were a step late, they secretly shook their heads. What a pity! Otherwise they could still gain something. Lin Fei laughed. You really can't. The void collapsed and the power surged. Lin Fei stretched out one hand and pierced through the other party's chest. In the blink of an eye, he had plundered the other party clean. The dried corpse fell to the ground and turned into a pile of mud. I wonder who is still interested in fighting with me. I have no problem, but it depends on whether you are lucky or not. Lin Fei also glanced at these people indifferently. These people were originally prepared to watch the show, but who would have thought that the Sage King expert would be killed so quickly? His death was so miserable, and they subconsciously shrank their necks. They really could not tell that this person's strength was not affected at all, and most importantly, the other party was a demon king. It seemed that he had mastered some strange, evil methods. After Lin Fei killed a person on the spot, the gazes of these people changed. He casually found a place to land. These people were observing. There were quite a lot of people present, at least 40 to 50 people. They were in groups of 3 to 5, and they were obviously in groups. After most of their gazes moved away from him, they once again fell on a place not far away. Only now did Lin Fei see clearly that there was a small stairway in front of the palace, not far away. The stairway to heaven wasn't very tall, but there were black-armored warriors standing on both sides of the stairway. These black-armored warriors didn't have the aura of a living person, but they exuded a sense of danger. Many people had died on the stairway, and the air was still filled with the smell of blood. Lin Fei immediately understood what was going on. Clearly, someone had wanted to charge forward, but had been killed by these black-armored warriors. From the looks of it, these people seemed to be quite fearful of these black-armored warriors. Therefore, he did not dare to go up again. It looked like he was thinking of a good way to rush up. There were about 30 black-armored warriors. They lined up on both sides, looking rather imposing. These black-armored warriors all wielded sabers, axes, and other melee weapons, giving off an incredibly sharp aura. This also proved that these black-armored warriors were indeed very strong. It was no wonder that they didn't dare to move. If they were not careful, they would be killed by these black-armored warriors. Lin Fei was also sure that at the end of the stairway, there should be a lot of good stuff in the palace, but he didn't know what it was for the time being. It was no wonder that Gu Yin's small world had become the strongest small world. Just the lightning outside was enough to make people feel an extreme sense of danger, not to mention the black-armored warriors here. Of course, Lin Fei could also see that these black-armored warriors were good stuff. Their strength was almost comparable to a heavenly king. If he brought a few back, it would be quite eye-catching. The others probably had the same thoughts as Lin Fei. With 30 black-armored warriors lined up on both sides, it wouldn't be easy to take them back. Lin Fei was naturally confident, but he wasn't in a hurry to make a move. This was because he saw that a few of them seemed to have quite a strong background. They should be from a low-level small world, and the kind that was very famous. Just by standing there, they gave people a great sense of deterrence. The group was led by a black-robed, middle-aged man, and on his left and right stood 2 Heavenly King experts. Behind them were 5 Pinnacle Sage King experts. They didn't look like much, but the pressure of this group wasn't small. No one approached them, and it was obvious that these people were quite a deterrent. Lin Fei naturally didn't know these people, but he didn't intend to have any contact with them. I think the situation isn't good if this goes on. I have an idea. Who knows, we might be able to capture a few black-armored warriors and bring them back. The black-robed, middle-aged man walked out and said to everyone. He had a faint smile on his face, and he looked like he had a card up his sleeve. Young Master and Qing, you are a smart person. I wonder what idea you have. Tell us. If it is good, we will definitely support you. One of the young masters stood up and said. Many other young masters also echoed his words. Clearly, this person called Young Master and Qing had quite a strong background, and he had gained the recognition of many people. So this middle-aged man was called Young Master and Qing. Lin Fei felt that this middle-aged man wasn't ordinary, and it seemed that his guess was right. This Young Master and Qing was indeed a little different. At this time, Lin Fei also wanted to hear what this young master and Qing could come up with. Actually, it isn't too difficult to pass this sky stairway. I have a treasure in my hands, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it. It's called Gravity Domain. These puppets are very strong, and as long as we suppress their speed, we will naturally be able to break them. However, we need someone to restrain them so that I have time to activate this Gravity Domain. As Young Master and Qing slowly explained, everyone began to understand how to operate. For a moment, everyone's eyes lit up. Knowing Young Master and Qing, they naturally knew that he had a treasure that could release a gravity domain, and it was very strong. This treasure could unleash an extremely strong power once it was used. It was indeed very useful against these black-armored warriors. Isn't it just restraining them? We can definitely find some people to bring back. For example, some of us here can also be put to use. I also agree with Young Master and Qing's idea. Many people's eyes lit up as they sized up the people around them. All of them instantly became vigilant. That's right. We need a batch of cannon fodder. As long as this batch of cannon fodder can restrain them, I will be able to activate the gravity domain. When that happens, I want half of the black-armored warriors, and you guys can split the remaining half. Apex. Chapter 4585. Everyone knew that this young master and Qing came from a low-class, small world. This low-class, small world was one of the top-ranked small worlds. Naturally, its influence was not low. When he asked for half of the black-armored warriors, everyone felt that it was reasonable. One must know that the gravity domain was very overbearing. It was said that once it was used, those without a strong physique would be crushed to death by the gravity domain. This was not a joke, it was the truth. Everyone knew that Young Master and Qing's gravity domain was very overbearing. Almost no one in the Sage King realm could withstand it. Everyone agreed with Young Master and Qing's words. If they could bring 1 or 2 black-armored warriors back, it would be a great harvest. In this ancient king's tomb, the strongest place was the ancient cloud small world. If they could enter the palace again, they would be able to obtain even better things. We have no objections. We support young Master and Qing. We have no objections to. 100 of us support. Everyone reacted quickly and stood on young Master and Qing's side. In the blink of an eye, almost no one objected. Some people hesitated and were immediately separated by others. Let's start from here. Let's clear out those who are suitable to be cannon fodder. Young Master and Qing laughed, and suddenly, a black pagoda appeared in his hand. This pagoda flew higher and higher until it appeared above everyone's head. With a crash, everyone felt as though they were carrying a huge mountain on their backs, especially those who were hesitating. All of them let out muffled groans, and their bodies actually collapsed under the pressure. They knelt on the ground with a plop. I saw that the few of you were still hesitating. In that case, you will be cannon fodder. Anyway, one more does not make a difference. Young Master and Qing had a faint smile on his face. It was as though he had done something insignificant. Those young masters who chose to stand behind young Master and Qing heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they reacted quickly. Otherwise, they would have been suppressed. Lin Fei also became one of the suppressed people. That gravity domain was indeed very strong. It directly suppressed his body to the point that it was about to explode. Even he was in such a state, let alone the others. They simply could not withstand it. As for releasing the treasure, that was simply impossible. It was suppressed in an instant. Indeed, this young Master and Qing was very strong. I think there's no need for you to struggle anymore. I've only activated 5 layers of gravity. If I activate 1 or 2 more layers, you'll all be dead. If you can live, you'd better live well. These words were neither light nor heavy, but they were filled with a threatening aura. Out of everyone present, only Lin Fei was able to stand steadily. Everyone present was slightly taken aback. They didn't expect that there would be someone who could withstand the pressure of 5 layers of gravity. It was no wonder that he could kill a Saint King expert with a single punch. Isn't it just being cannon fodder? No problem, I'll do it. No one would have thought that the rogue cultivator, who looked powerful just now, would lower his head so quickly. This caused many people to laugh. In the end, young Master and Qing is still the strongest. 1 gravity domain is enough to make this fellow lower his head. Looks like this guy is quite strong. He is suitable to be used as cannon fodder. Young Master and Qing swept an indifferent glance at Lin Fei and didn't look at him anymore. There's no time to lose. You guys go out and catch a batch of cannon fodder. It's best if there are as many people as possible. That way, I'll have enough time to use the gravity domain. This time, everyone was quite obedient. They all went to other parts of the palace to look for those people. When they entered, Lin Fei also knew that there were other palaces of various sizes in this palace. There were also many people there. He didn't expect that they would become the target of their attacks. This young Master and Qing was really good at scheming. With a wave of his hand, he had roped in a group of people and killed another group of people. If the people had become cannon fodder, could they still survive? Lin Fei didn't think so. Of course, to him, it was fine as long as he was faster than them. There were so many black-armored warriors, but he wasn't that worried. As long as he went up first, he would be the first to break into the palace. He was quite confident in his physical body. Don't forget that he was someone who had the demonic escape technique. He had a trace of spatial laws. It didn't take long before the people in the palace were captured one by one. They were thrown into the gravity domain. The moment they entered the gravity domain, they instantly lost the ability to resist. All of them became obedient. Most of them were kneeling on the ground. There were only a few who were standing like Lin Fei. Lin Fei counted. There were about 60 to 70 of them. These people had an additional gravity shackle on their bodies. The moment the gravity shackle wrapped around their bodies, they instantly carried a huge mountain on their backs. This was one of young Master and Qing's methods. He didn't need to worry about anyone breaking free from the gravity shackle. When the time came, he could do whatever he wanted with just a word. The strength of all of you isn't bad. I've taken a liking to all of you, so, later on, all of you will become cannon fodder. Of course, if you do well as cannon fodder, you will also be able to survive. As long as you help me restrain these black armored warriors, you will naturally have a chance to live. If you don't restrain them well, then sorry, all of you will die here. Young Master and Qing said coldly. Later on, all of you will activate the gravity domain together. That way, you will be able to exert gravity faster. As for the others, they weren't idle either. There was something they had to do. It wasn't that easy to take down the black armored warriors. However, no one had any objections now. I will remove a layer of gravity. Then, all of you can go and restrain them. Remember, it doesn't matter if you are in a team of 3 or a group of 5. In any case, you have to suppress these black armored warriors for me. If anyone has any ideas, just do the same as him. Young Master and Qing stretched out his hand and pointed. A middle-aged man, who seemed to be quite strong, was pierced through by the gravity spear. It turned out that the gravity domain could be transformed into a spear. A Saint King expert was killed with a single spear strike. Upon seeing this scene, those who had any ideas stopped thinking about it. Under this gravity domain, they really couldn't think of any other ideas. They could only obediently be cannon fodder. Lin Fei could tell that young Master and Qing's earlier actions were actually directed at him. This was because the only people present who could withstand the gravity were him and a few others. However, they didn't seem to be as strong as him. This was killing the chicken to warn the monkey. The few of you will walk at the front. Each of you will restrain one black armored warrior. The rest of you will restrain them from the side. Remember to give it your all. Otherwise, my gravity spear is no joke. Within the gravity domain, black spears were constantly being condensed. They flickered with a cold light, giving off a heart-palpitating aura. Apex. Chapter 4586. And Qing's methods were indeed amazing. The moment the gravity domain was activated, many spears were formed and pointed at everyone. With just a thought from Qing, these spears would pierce through the air. It was impossible to withstand a single spear. One's body would be pierced. This was probably the reason why Qing was able to withstand everyone. With the gravity domain here, no one dared to ignore it. Once the gravity was activated, whoever could withstand it would be crushed. Although the black armored warriors were strong, they wouldn't be able to withstand the powerful gravity domain. No wonder Qing was so confident. Lin Fei became the first batch of people. Beams of cold light landed directly on his back. It seemed that as long as he moved, these gravity-long spears would directly stab him. You wouldn't even have a chance to resist and would be turned into a beehive. Although these spears were strong, Lin Fei didn't think much of it. Don't forget that his body was strong to begin with. Coupled with the demon god escape, he could easily charge out of this stairway. It was so fast that they couldn't even react. So what if they took a few spears? Lin Fei didn't think much of it at all. Moreover, Lin Fei had the wind god domain. This thing could be considered useful. When the time came, he would be able to withstand a huge wave of attacks. Lin Fei was the first to step on the stairway. When young Master and Qing saw this, he laughed out. No matter how strong a person was, they would still have to behave themselves in this place. With Lin Fei being the first to step on the stairway, although the others weren't convinced, they had no choice. If they didn't go up, they would be beaten to death. If they went up, they would still be beaten to death. They might as well try their luck. Didn't they see that the young man had gone over? The moment Lin Fei stepped on the stairway, the black armored warrior closest to him moved. A saber came slashing over. This saber was indeed very powerful. It broke through the void and landed in front of Lin Fei. It was so fast that one couldn't resist at all. Lin Fei was hit by the saber, leaving a white mark on his body. This white scar was very obvious. It was no wonder that the Saint Ruler from before could not withstand it. The black armored warrior was indeed very strong. Especially this saber technique. It was a saber technique used to kill. This saber was also a divine weapon. It was extremely sharp and specialized in targeting the physical body. With such a black-armored warrior guarding this place, not everyone would be able to charge in. This also gave Lin Fei a thought. No matter what, he had to take a few black-armored warriors with him. He couldn't let them get away scot-free. It was better to keep such a good thing by his side. Initially, young Master Qing didn't care much about this young man. He didn't expect that the other party's body wouldn't be damaged after taking the blow. This surprised him a little. The stronger the person who went up to restrain him was, the more time he would have to activate the next few layers of the gravity domain. At that time, he would be able to suppress these black-armored warriors in one fell swoop. What are you waiting for? Hurry up! And Qing snorted coldly. A long spear pierced through the air, piercing through some of the people who stayed behind. They were killed on the spot. Those people didn't dare to have any more doubts. They immediately rushed up. In an instant, the stairway to heaven was filled with people. Those black-armored warriors also made their move. As the saber light swept out, Saint Ruler experts fell. The strong smell of blood permeated the surroundings. In front of them were black-armored warriors, and behind them were long spears staring at their backs. No matter what, they could only fight with their lives on the line. All of you, don't just stand around. Activate this treasure of mine and suppress this black-armored warrior in one fell swoop. Don't you want the black-armored warrior? With that said, everyone started to move in an instant. Who didn't want the black-armored warrior? Now, they had to rely on young Master and Qing's treasure. After everyone activated it, this treasure began to emit a dazzling radiance. It was obvious that the killer move was about to be activated. At this time, Lin Fei was already at the forefront. There were 5 black-armored warriors in front of him. The 5 black-armored warriors attacked from the left and right. Every slash made Lin Fei feel a great deal of pressure. White scars were left on his body. Lin Fei didn't even know how many white scars he had left on his body. In any case, these black-armored warriors were very difficult to deal with, especially at close range. There was no one left standing beside him, because they had all been killed by the black-armored warriors. Lin Fei released his wind god's domain as well. Wind blades continuously landed on the bodies of the black-armored warriors. These black-armored warriors were also very capable. It was unknown what material their bodies were made of, but white marks were left on them. The wind blades that he controlled were actually unable to defeat them for a while. This was indeed a little out of Lin Fei's expectations. However, it also made him even more excited. This time, he had really found a treasure. There were 30 black-armored warriors here. No matter what, he had to get a batch back. When the time came, with this batch of black-armored warriors, it wouldn't be dangerous anymore. He wouldn't have to do it himself anymore. This heavenly king was indeed quite capable. Even the lightning outside was so powerful. Now, these black-armored warriors were also very powerful. Lin Fei was also looking forward to what was inside the palace for it to be so heavily guarded. At this time, it was very appropriate to describe it as heavily guarded. With 30 black-armored warriors guarding like this, even a heavenly king would have a headache and a sage king would drink blood on the spot. If it wasn't heavily guarded, what was it? This was something that Lin Fei could see very clearly. At the same time, he was also observing young Master and Qing. Young Master and Qing's treasure seemed to have reached its limit. It was emitting a terrifying might. This time, young Master and Qing revealed a proud look. Under everyone's activation, the gravitational treasure finally accumulated enough energy. 9 layers of strength, suppress for me. When the energy had accumulated enough, young Master and Qing finally unleashed his killer move. Although it was only a short period of time, it was unknown how many Sage King experts on the stairway to heaven had died. To him, this was nothing. He could finally activate this treasure and unleash the 9 layers of gravity. With a loud rumbling sound, the entire void collapsed along with it. As expected, these black-armored warriors who were originally attacking were instantly pressed to the ground. These black-armored warriors were also capable. After being pressed down, they continued to resist. Loud rumbling sounds could be heard. Lin Fei and the other cannon fodder were also the first to bear the brunt. Those Sage King experts were crushed in an instant and turned into a pool of blood on the ground. It turned out that young Master and Qing had no intention of letting these cannon fodder live. Chapter 4587. After young Master and Qing's 9 layers force descended, these cannon fodder were directly annihilated. After all, the 9 layers force was still very strong, and it could even deal with the black-armored warriors, let alone these Sage King experts. Their physical bodies were not strong to begin with, and each of them was more or less injured. With a single exchange, they turned into a pool of blood. That scene was as shocking as it could be. This also made those who had made a move suck in a breath of cold air. Young Master and Qing was indeed as powerful as the rumors said, especially this treasure. It was simply too ferocious. When the gravity descended, Lin Fei was already prepared. He knew that young Master and Qing would not have it so easy. He must have been thinking too much to allow them to reach the palace. Sure enough, it was just as he had expected. This was going to be a great massacre. It had to be said that the power of gravity was quite strong. When it landed on Lin Fei's body, it felt like a huge mountain was pressing down on him. This kind of crushing was very overbearing, and it was impossible for anyone to withstand it. With a loud rumbling sound, cracks appeared on Lin Fei's body. As for those black-armored warriors, they were also suppressed. After all, they did not have any consciousness and were purely relying on their instincts. In a single exchange, they had indeed caused the black-armored warriors to suffer greatly. Fortunately, when Lin Fei was being suppressed, he immediately used the demon god escape. The demon god escape was stronger in a short distance. Lin Fei's cracked body instantly recovered, and in the blink of an eye he rushed forward. At this time, the black-armored warriors could not stop Lin Fei. These black-armored warriors were also being suppressed by the 9 layers force. Let's see how you people are going to fight with me. This palace is not something you can go up. Young Master and Qing snorted coldly in his heart. He was very confident in his treasure. He could suppress whoever he wanted, and he would not leave anyone alive. Everything was as he had expected. These cannon fodder could not withstand it at all, and they were directly crushed to death. It was the same for those black-armored warriors. They were all suppressed one by one. What? There are still people moving. The smile on young Master and Qing's face did not stay for long when he discovered an unexpected scene. This made him very unhappy. There were actually still people moving. Most importantly, when this person moved, he actually took away the black-armored warriors that were pressing down. What kind of joke is this? How could such a thing happen? It's actually that guy. How could he bear it? Shouldn't he be dead? And Qing was so angry that he was about to explode. He had managed to get these people to activate this treasure and unleash their ultimate move right under his nose. But in the end, someone had beaten him to it. The power of the 9 heavenly layers continued to press down on him. However, Lin Fei took advantage of this short period of time to collect 6 black-armored warriors. He had already reached the end of the celestial stairway. Although he looked a little disheveled, it did not affect him much. He turned around and smiled at Qing. "Sorry, I came up first." It was a light sentence, but to young Master and Qing, it was like a heavy slap to his face. It was like a handful of salt had been sprinkled on his wound. Wow! Young Master and Qing was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. The gravity that was originally enveloping the celestial stairway dissipated. With this, the entire celestial stairway returned to normal. Those cannon fodder were all dead. Only the black-armored warriors were still standing. Those who thought that they could collect, the black-armored warriors were all staring with their eyes wide open. They were in a state of shock. How had such a drastic change happened? Even the black-armored warrior had been taken away. How could that guy have such a strong physical body? He actually made it through. Damn it. How did he make it through? He even collected a few black-armored warriors. Those are our black-armored warriors. These people were infuriated. Some of them rushed up the celestial stairway impulsively. After all, these black-armored warriors had just been suppressed. They probably had not recovered their strength so quickly. However, when they reached the celestial stairway, they realized that they were thinking too much. In the blink of an eye, they were injured, leaving behind corpses. Lin Fei had already rushed to the front of the palace. He stretched out his hand and pushed. A loud rumbling sound could be heard. The door of the palace was pushed open. He didn't dare to hesitate. Who knew what other tricks young master and Qing had up his sleeve? Therefore, he had to collect the good stuff in the palace first. Young master and Qing's face turned even uglier. He knew that the door of the palace had been pushed open. He didn't expect that the cannon fodder would actually hide his strength and have such a powerful movement technique. He could even withstand the pressure of the 9-layered gravity. In that short period of time, he actually beat him to it and killed him. All of you, hurry up and activate this treasure together. Otherwise, none of you will be able to go up. That kid has already entered the palace. When the time comes, it is very likely that he will snatch everything inside. None of you will be able to get anything. Young master and Qing became even more anxious. At this time, if he was any slower, he would probably not be able to get anything inside. Lin Fei had already entered the palace. However, when he entered the palace, the sky was filled with flashes of lightning. The lightning swam nonstop and turned into a real lightning zone. In that instant, Lin Fei's entire body was hit by the lightning. Lin Fei knew that there would be good stuff inside. However, he didn't expect that there would be so many lightning bolts. These lightning bolts were filled with destructive power. Once they entered, his entire body felt like it was going to be torn to pieces. He immediately activated the life reserves of the divine tree of life to continuously strengthen his body. Only then did he barely manage to hold on. However, it also made Lin Fei look like a bloody man. His entire body was dripping with blood. What a terrifying palace. It seems like I am right. This heavenly king, Gu Yin, should be a guy who cultivates the great path of thunder. Moreover, this great path of thunder should not be a simple first stage great path heart. It is very likely to be a king stage great path heart or an emperor stage great path heart. Lin Fei couldn't help but take a deep breath. If this was really the case, then he would have gained a lot from this trip. The Great Path of Thunder was originally a relatively strong and destructive great path. If one wanted to obtain more powerful and stronger great paths, they would need to be of a higher grade. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He saw movement in front of him. In the middle of the lightning bolts was a stone box. Lin Fei didn't know what material this box was made of, but he could clearly feel that this box might contain the great path heart of thunder. Chapter 4588. There was a loud rumbling sound outside. Lin Fei also heard it clearly. He didn't even need to think to know that young master and Qing must have panicked and pushed the gravity treasure with all his might. Those black-armored warriors were not easy to deal with, especially after pushing the gravity treasure once. If he wanted to push it a second time, the consumption would definitely be greater. He should be able to understand this, so there was more than enough time for him to do so. Lin Fei was now more and more certain that the box contained a heart of the great path, and it was lightning. Among all the great paths, lightning was one of the most terrifying. Although it was very different from fate, time, and space, it was still a very powerful great path. In the past, Lin Fei would definitely not care about these great paths. Now he felt that if he got a few more great paths like this one, it would also make him stronger. Lin Fei headed towards the box. He moved. The lightning whizzed over, its power unbelievably strong. It constantly moved around Lin Fei's body. Every time it swam, cracks would appear on Lin Fei's body. More and more cracks would appear on his body. Lin Fei was like a work of art that could collapse at any time. Fortunately, Lin Fei was already used to it, so there was nothing to be afraid of. It was just lightning. To his body, it was completely able to keep up with the speed. When one side was injured, the other side's life energy would recover. The life energy that he had accumulated usually would be put to use. Moreover, the current tree of life could condense large amounts of life energy, so it could still keep up with the speed. It was a short distance, but it took Lin Fei a while to reach the box. The closer he got to the box, the stronger the power of the lightning, one after another. Every time it moved, the wound would open wider, as if it was going to split him into pieces. Lin Fei could feel that the great path of lightning around the box was the most terrifying power. Even if a person at the pinnacle of the Saint King stage were to come over, he would immediately be hit by the attack and be directly blasted into pieces. He would truly be the kind that would not be able to resist at all. Let me see exactly what's inside. It couldn't be any better if it's an Emperor rank lightning Grand Dao Core. My gains from this trip would be great. Lin Fei knew that this pocket dimension was filled with the power of lightning. Previously, he was quite curious as to why there was so much lightning power in this world. Now, he knew that it was very likely that the lightning power came from this box. Once he obtained the great Dao Heart of Lightning, he would casually refine it. At that time, the power of lightning in a small world would belong to him. Naturally, he would be able to unleash an extremely powerful attack. Lin Fei had collected a lot of thunder techniques, but he didn't have any. Once he had the great path of Thunderheart, it would be much more convenient. Lin Fei reached out and grabbed the box. A layer of faint light appeared on the surface of the box. It turned out that it was the power of lightning, and it instantly destroyed Lin Fei's palm. This technique was indeed terrifyingly powerful. After Lin Fei's palm had been destroyed, he had immediately cultivated it back. His current physical body could indeed reach such an achievement. Of course, it was only limited to Lin Fei. Outsiders couldn't achieve it at all. Let's see how long this power of yours can last. Lin Fei snorted lightly and continued to grab. It was just like before. The power was extremely domineering, and it directly destroyed the palm. Lin Fei wasn't surprised at all. He attacked again. Every time he attacked, a wave of power would burst out from the box, and it was extremely powerful. After this continued for more than 10 times, the power started to weaken. Even though it wasn't too obvious, Lin Fei could clearly feel it. He knew that he was getting closer and closer to obtaining the box. After this happened 40 to 50 times, Lin Fei finally obtained the box. He casually lifted the box and opened it. As expected, there was a great Dao Heart of Lightning flickering with lightning in the box. Lin Fei only needed a glance to know what kind of great Dao Heart of Lightning it was. This was definitely an Emperor rank Great Dao Heart of Lightning, and it was much better than the King rank Great Dao Heart of Lightning he had imagined. It was even a grade higher. Coming to this ancient cloud, small world wasn't in vain. I didn't expect to obtain an Emperor rank Great Dao Heart of Lightning. Lin Fei could be said to be satisfied. With this Emperor rank Great Dao Heart of Lightning, his strength would increase by a huge amount. Especially during a fight, it would definitely be a huge blow to a physical body expert. He casually swallowed the Great Dao Heart of Lightning. After the Great Dao Heart of Lightning swallowed it, it erupted with terrifying power. It was as if it wanted to pierce through Lin Fei's physical body. The divine tree of life moved, and a huge amount of energy enveloped the Great Dao Heart of Lightning. If he wanted to refine the Great Dao Heart of Lightning, he would have to first subdue it. This was nothing to Lin Fei, and he easily suppressed it. In just a few breaths, he had completely refined the Great Dao Heart of Lightning. It was much faster than Lin Fei had imagined. The Emperor rank, great, Tao Heart of Lightning is indeed different. I have also refined a first rank, great Tao Heart before, but this one is far inferior. Lin Fei shook his head. With a thought, the lightning in the entire hall instantly stopped moving. Then, the lightning transformed into a lightning spear. The might of this lightning spear was still very terrifying. At the very least, after Lin Fei held it in his hand, he could feel that this lightning was like a heavenly king's treasure. It was a top-notch heavenly king's treasure, and one spear could kill a heavenly king powerhouse. Good stuff. Really good stuff. And this was just one of Lin Fei's most ordinary methods. But the Emperor rank, great Tao Heart of Lightning, was indeed different. It had been refined to a certain extent, and one could imagine how powerful it was. After Lin Fei refined the great Tao Heart of Lightning, the hall became completely quiet. After strolling around, Lin Fei knew that he had obtained the best thing, which was this Emperor rank, great Tao Heart of Lightning. As for anything else, there was nothing else. Looking at the time, they should be here by now. Lin Fei did not forget that there were still people outside that he had to deal with. He simply took out a pot of wine and slowly drank it. This wait. After waiting for less than an hour, he finally saw people rushing in from outside the hall. Bastard, everything in the hall is mine. No one can take it away. A figure quickly rushed in. It was none other than young Master and Qing from before. Young Master and Qing seemed very anxious. As soon as he entered, he felt that there was something wrong with this hall. Then he saw someone. His heart could not help but skip a beat. Peek. Chapter 4589. Young Master and Qing had indeed come up. He had paid a huge price to finally barge in. However, as soon as he entered, he felt that something was wrong because he could no longer sense the existence of the lightning. No one was more clearly aware than him that it was very likely that an Emperor rank lightning Grand Tao Core was left behind in this palace. Outsiders might not be clear about it, but young Master and Qing was very clear about it. He'd come to the tomb precisely for the Emperor rank heart of the great Tao of Lightning, and he'd come to try his luck. If he was lucky and really obtained an Emperor rank lightning heart, then once he refined and absorbed it, he would be able to grasp terrifying lightning techniques. Lightning itself was filled with destructive power, capable of destroying everything. It wasn't something that an ordinary expert could withstand. Moreover, this was an Emperor rank lightning Grand Tao heart, which was extremely rare. Within the Tianhe region, it was practically impossible to find an Emperor rank lightning Grand Tao heart, and only a few experts had cultivated a King rank lightning Grand Tao heart. In comparison, the strength of the Arch rank Great Tao Heart of Lightning was extremely clear. Back then, Heavenly King Guyan was so powerful because he had cultivated the Great Tao of Lightning, and it was at the Arch level. Guyan's strength was so strong that basically no one could get close to him. Once they got close, they would be penetrated by the power of lightning and their bodies would be directly destroyed. At this moment, he finally couldn't feel the existence of the power of thunder. The entire palace was silent. This was something that was completely impossible. Earlier, when he was outside the heaven stairway, he'd sensed a formidable and dangerous aura within the palace. Now that the Emperor rank heart of the Great Tao of Lightning was gone, it was very likely that it was in the hands of that person. I didn't expect you to be the first one to make it here. You're not slow either. Unfortunately, you're a step too late. I've already gotten the item. Are you feeling regretful? Lin Fei smiled. He was in an exceptionally good mood. Young Master and Qing almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He had put in so much effort, but in the end, someone had beaten him to it. He never expected that this guy would actually have a hidden card. Quickly hand over the Emperor rank Lightning Grand Tao Core. Otherwise, don't dream of leaving here today. Young Master and Qing roared. This was the only way to vent the unwillingness and hatred in his heart. He was so close, but in the end, all his efforts were in vain. Even the emperor rank lightning heart of the great Tao had been taken away. Fortunately, he still had a chance. Since the other party was able to take away the Dharch great Tao lightning heart, there was no way he could refine it. Perhaps his injuries were not light. Right now, he was putting on an act. Did he really think that he, young master in Qing, was so easily fooled? Then you're definitely thinking too much. He, young master in Qing, is quite smart. I advise you to give up. If you fight, you'll only be humiliating yourself. It's better to hand over all your valuables. Maybe I'll spare your life later. After all, it's not easy to cultivate to your level. Who asked me to be a good person? This time around, young master in Qing really spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood in his body was attacking his heart. Gravity. After a loud rumble, gravity appeared in the entire palace. Kacha! Kacha! A series of cracks appeared on the ground. Young master and Qing's face twisted and cold sweat dripped down from his forehead. In order to suppress his opponent, young master and Qing immediately used his trump card. The aura around his body surged, and he actually managed to activate the treasure, exploding forth with 8 layers of power. This was already his limit. As for 9 layers, he couldn't activate it at all. Amazing, really amazing. I didn't expect there to be such a method. You alone can display the effects of 8 layers of power. However, this strength of yours is really useless against me. After a loud rumble, instantly, the great Tao of lightning spread out in the palace. These lightning bolts continuously broke through the gravity. Unknowingly, the effects of the 8 layers of power kept on weakening. This was because the great Tao of lightning was originally about destruction and destruction. When it met with this gravity, it could naturally display its original strength. Young master and Qing retreated a few steps. Impossible! How can you refine the emperor rank lightning heart of the great Tao? You definitely can't refine it. Even a heavenly king powerhouse can't refine it in such a short period of time. At that moment, young master and Qing really couldn't sit still anymore. He didn't expect that the other party would really refine the great Tao of lightning. The might of the great Tao of lightning was also super terrifying. In the blink of an eye, it tore apart his 8 layers of power. What terrified him the most was that when the power of lightning swam over, his physical body felt a dangerous aura. There was a loud explosion. The lightning spear stabbed over. Many defenses appeared around young master and Qing's body, but in the blink of an eye they collapsed. The spear had pierced through his body. Streaks of lightning instantly seeped into his body. Wah, 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 wah. With each step Qing retreated, he would spit out a mouthful of blood. He spat out dozens of mouthfuls of blood and retreated dozens of steps all the way to the entrance. You should know that there is always someone better out there. It is normal for me to be stronger than you, so you can only admit defeat. I thought that you could live if you handed over the item, but unfortunately you don't listen. So I can only do it myself? Young master and Qing knew that he was finished. Lin Fan had refined the emperor rank lightning Tao, and just one move was enough to make him unable to take it. A thought appeared in his heart. Run. He would run as far as he could. When the time came, he would call the experts of the sect and snatch the emperor rank lightning Tao heart back. There was a hua sound. The great Tao of thunder instantly turned into a spot of light and pierced through Qing's physical body. This light spot was really strong and contained a terrifying and thick lightning power. It exploded in Qing's body. He didn't have time to take it and was ripped to pieces. With a clang, a ring fell to the ground. It was perfectly fine. Then it landed in Lin Fei's hands. I told you that you could live if you handed it over. Why didn't you listen? Did you really think that my words were nonsense? After refining the emperor rank lightning Tao heart, Lin Fei's strength soared once more. Controlling the lightning Tao was as simple as moving clouds and flowing water. Killing young Master and Qing was naturally even easier. His physical body wasn't strong, and that was his greatest weakness. This was also the time when the lightning Dao could display its strength. Lin Fei came to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, people charged up from the stairway, but all of them were injured. The moment they came up, they saw a person standing at the entrance. Wasn't it the fellow who charged in just now? They remembered that Qing also entered. But why was he nowhere to be seen? A bad premonition appeared in their hearts. Maybe something happened to Qing.